Should be back up and running. I hope we are back up and running. Hopefully, let me know if I'm not. But I believe I am. Okay, so from Affinity turn 1, we have Signalpest Ornithopter off of a Darksteel Citadel. Apparently these players are playing on the opposite side than I thought that they were. Sorry about that. I'm honestly not sure what happened. But if I lost you and you are back, thank you so much for rejoining me. So this Bubble Hulk combo, definitely an interesting one. What it was going to be trying to do is bring back a Protean Hulk from the graveyard. And then when it goes to get those two creatures, it is going to be going for a Viscera Seer and a Body Double. Which, that Body Double is going to copy the Protean Hulk, sack it with the Viscera Seer, go for a Mog Fanatic and a Revelark. And then that creates a infinite loop through that. So, that is the helpful little bit. I do have a list for this deck, so I should be able to talk about it a little bit more. It is the deck that Zach Elsick played at Pro Tour Pittsburgh. So, a Cranial Plating from Martin. Looks like just 2 lands, has another Mountain, Master of Ethereum, and a Galvanic Blast in hand. For Michael, we have got an Izzet Charm, and we are keeping some cards on top from that Serum. Okay, so we've got an Izzet Charm. Taking a look at that graveyard. Excellent. Okay. So we do have a third land for Martin, playing out that Vault Scourge and equipping that Cranial Plating to the Ornithopter. Michael, currently no removal available to him. This is going to be a swing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, going down to 11. So, presenting a kill next turn, potentially with that Galvanic Blast and also with the Master of Ethereum. So Michael, pretty much this is his last opportunity to get a kill. We do have a Faithless Looting in the graveyard, now a Mog Fanatic, and that Protean Hulk does hit the graveyard. Does he have the way to get it back and go for this combo? Otherwise he is in trouble. And we have a Footsteps of the Goryo, so Michael going to pull out the win. So Footsteps of the Goryo, picking up the cards. He is aware of how this combo works. But to elaborate for you guys, while we are waiting for Game 2 with Michael taking that Game 1, let me just do a quick little run through of this deck. Leaving up Blast, probably the right call. Unfortunately, it is a pretty difficult combo to disrupt once it starts going, so I don't think it actually would have ended up making a difference. So, with this Footsteps of the Goryo, what you do is you bring back a Protean Hulk. That Protean Hulk is a 6/6 for 7. That neither of those things matter, because when it is put into a graveyard from play, you search your library for any number of creatures with total converted mana cost of 6 or less, put them into play. What you go for at that point is a Viscera Seer, and it seems like he's displaying the combo right now, is you go for a Body Double as well. That Body Double enters as a copy of the Protean Hulk in your graveyard because it was sacrificed. And then you are also able to get a Viscera Seer. Dang it. Anyway, so you go for a Viscera Seer, 1 mana, sack a creature to scry 1. Again, not relevant because you then sack that Body Double, which is now a Protean Hulk, and go for 2 cards. One of them being the Revelark. Okay. And the other one being a Mog Fanatic. That Mog Fanatic you can sack to deal 1 damage to target creature or player, and then you sacrifice your Revelark, which, when it enters into the graveyard, I should have it up in just a moment, but when it enters into the graveyard, you are able to bring back up to, I believe, 2 creatures. Let's double check that. Otherwise, getting ready for game 2. So, some of you, looks like I did lose some people there. Very unfortunate because I went down for a moment. So, I'm sorry, but for those of you who stuck around, thank you so much. As always, feel free to keep that chat busy and have some interaction. I'm more than happy to interact with you all. And, should be an absolute blast. Again, 4 rounds at the very start of the second round currently. Saw a very quick game from Michael. Taking the win there. Affinity post sideboard going to be on the play. Some things that might be coming in is any number of counter magic to take down that Footsteps of the Goryo. Also might see Thought Seizes to take down the combo cards themselves. Don't want to actually hit the Protean Hulk itself. Other than that, Blood Moon not going to be huge if he does have it in the deck, though I don't think that he does. Any control players tonight? Yes, there is at least one Jeskai control deck in there, and some other things. Any Seance decks? No, no Seance. Unfortunately, that one never did catch on. So no Seance in the room tonight. We had a couple of people come up with a couple... Ooh, a lot of couples apparently. But we did have some people come up with some ideas, but unfortunately they did not end up panning out. Bramunda Rhombus bring up a great point. Thopter Engineer out of the sideboard from Michael's deck. Very much a possibility. What that enables him to do is create a combo where he keeps recurring the Thopter Engineer. Creates a Thopter every time that it enters, and then sacrifice it with the Viscera Seer. And eventually you just have an entire army of 1/1 Thopters. It is Valentine's Day Eve. I should have made the background something different for that. Should have expected that. Next time. Next time. But what is better for romance than coming out and playing some Modern here? Frankly, I don't know. I don't think that there is anything. But that's just me. Mouse friend, hello! Same to, I'm guessing a suture. But hello to both of you. I'm not sure if I've interacted with you guys in the chat, but I'm happy to have you guys. And hopefully we have some fantastic Modern happening here tonight. Also, to any of you who have not hit... Ooh, actually, I could get the Basic Mountain up here. Basic Mountain sitting in front of a forest. I don't really want to get a fight between the two, but I'll certainly give it a shot. Okay. Let's get the mountain going. So, Patrick Sullivan, now my co-host for the evening. As always, if any of you do want to hit that follow button, please do. I'm a big fan of it. It allows me to keep doing this, and the only reason why I'm able to is because so many of you show up on a regular basis, and it's a fantastic time. So, we've got an Arcbound Ravager, a Signal Pest. Looks like it might be a little bit light on mana, so we are shipping that hand. Michael taking a look at his 7 and mulligans from both players. So, I'm going to be seeing some smaller hands in this game 2 with Affinity on the play. But one thing that has been starting to happen is I do think that a key part of Modern, as opposed to, say, Standard, is mulliganing effectively. B, yes, we do have Lantern control players. Actually, Michael, who is on the left there, does play Lantern on occasion. I have Lantern control put together, so if anybody ever wants to borrow it, I'm always happy to lend out Lantern control. And also we have another player who's actually also by the name of Michael, oddly enough, who is currently building Lantern. So, very rarely do we have more than one copy in the room, but we do certainly have the capacity to have Lantern players. Okay. Let's see. When are these Modern prices gonna settle? That is a fantastic question. They never let them on stream? Unfortunately, no. So, every now and then we'll put Lantern control on the stream, but it is pretty difficult because it ends up being a pretty long match. But we've certainly done it before. Dang it, the mountain took down my screen. Alright, so turn 1. Darksteel Citadel into a Springleaf Drum, into a Ornithopter, using that Ornithopter to tap for a mana and casting a Grafdigger's Cage. Excellent start from Martin. That is going to slow down this Bubble Hold deck pretty consistently. So now Michael definitely needs to hit some Artifact Hate just to be able to win off of that. Okay. Called it Barbershop? That is a fantastic name for it. So, a Spellskite also coming down to protect that Grafdigger's Cage. The biggest issue right now is that Martin has very little of a clock to present, but if he's able to get any sort of clock underway here, that is going to be a huge bit. Michael now needing to hit 2 pieces of Artifact Hate just to disable that Grafdigger's Cage. Unfortunately, the mountain's getting put to the side right now. It keeps knocking down my green screen, which I can't have. The burden here. Okay, so we're heading into Michael's turn here. Looks like that is a makeshift mannequin in the graveyard. That makeshift mannequin, pretty interesting card that got added. What it is able to do is returns a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield with a counter on it, a mannequin counter, which is irrelevant what it's called. But as long as it has that counter, it is basically becomes an illusion, so if it becomes targeted, it gets taken down. Started using that as a backup for Footsteps of the Goryo in this deck for some time. The other big thing that it enables is that it keeps your combo protected from Path to Exile, which can often be very bad if they hit your Protean Hulk with it. Sorry, gonna play with this just a little bit. Caught it. Sorry, everybody, having some technical issues tonight. But I believe they should be worked out very shortly. Hopefully. We'll see. We're having a blast here. Totally got this. Still learning this green screen. Now I'm convinced that I need to fasten it in some way. Okay, so a Watergrave and a Mountain in play for Michael. Currently at 1 poison and also down to 19 life. Martin still at 20 with a pretty nice board state. Okay, Harm. Yeah, we actually do have a player who is playing the blue-red Eldrazi deck. He is not here tonight, unfortunately. He had a birthday party to go to or something like that. But we definitely do have them here. They have done pretty well, so excited to see possibly more of them in here. I think it's lost so far that I've seen was to Obzon Company. So, a Serum Visions out of Michael, and on Martin's turn we have an activation of this Inkmoth Nexus and an attack. Going up to 2 Infect, a very slow clock being presented, but a clock nonetheless. Michael really needs to end up hitting some kind of Artifact Hate. But we're going to have an Izzet Charm, digging for 2. One nice thing about this deck is that it has a huge capacity to dig for cards. What's he going to do in Body Double? Enters as a Protean Hulk and starts punching for 6. Absolutely a concern. The combo right now is disabled, but there still is a 6/6 in the deck. That Body Double now in the graveyard, however. So, another Serum Visions. And we have got the draw. Did not see what it was, but I see a Faithless Looting and one other card. A Wear and Tear. So keeping that Wear and Tear, bottoming the Faithless Looting. So Michael does have a Wear and Tear on top of his library that he will be casting next turn. Probably going to end up taking down the Spellskite with that. Otherwise, an activation of this Inkmoth Nexus. And now Michael at 3 poison. And a Vault Scourge coming down. So, going to start being able to provide pressure from 2 different avenues. And I believe that is a Steel Sabotage. So, Steel Sabotage, bouncing an artifact, and looks like paying the blue to make that the Spellskite at Michael's end step. So now that Spellskite is gone, going to be able to hit that Grafdigger's Cage with the Wear and Tear. So a really solid play by Michael there. Just needed to get that Spellskite off for a single turn. So, Very excellent play, and now it is just a matter of Michael assembling his combo, which I believe he does have available to him. So could be seeing a very quick Game 2 in addition to Game 1. Not entirely sure what Martin has in hand. Probably prioritizing that Spellskite and also a Steel Overseer. So certainly a clock is presented, but like Bermuda Rumbus said, I believe that he does have that win in hand. Footsteps happening. And now, as long as he has all those creatures still in his library, then we are going to see a win. So, Footsteps, Protean Hulk, passing the turn, the Protean Hulk goes down, and we are going to start going for some cards. So, a really solid win by Michael. Okay. Sonori, welcome back. So now we are just looking for those combo pieces. I think he was making sure that his graveyard didn't have all of them in there. Copying the Protean Hulk, and now presenting that combo, which is going to give Michael a win here in round 2, and we will be heading into getting another match up on that stream for you all. Otherwise, can Blast interrupt it? No, the entire interaction is at instant speed, actually. Because the biggest thing is he can take down the Viscera, but it's actually a really resilient combo. So going for that Viscera. And, yep. So the combo is actually very hard to interrupt, because then I think you can end up going for... Because you just sacrificed that one, you end up going for your Revelark, and you can just go for another one and just continually reset the combo. So, as long as you've got more pieces in hand, I think that it is very difficult to interrupt at instant speed. So that Thopter Engineer entering, and I'm going to see if I can get another match up. Okay. I'm going to message someone. Okay, so stick with me for just a moment. I am going to toss up the waiting screen for just a moment. Stick with me. I'm going to get another match and then be right back. Stick around, everybody. I'll be right back. Okay. Hello and welcome back. I am back. Unfortunately, don't have any players at the moment. They are all in the middle of their games, but we should be having one of them move over as soon as they are available. So we're going to stick around for just a minute, and then we will be getting some more Modern happening here with about half an hour left in this round. So, should be a good time. This thing is bothering me, and let's see what we can do to fix that. This always gets more and more precarious, but that's definitely not the way to do it. Okay. Green screen being very problematic for me today. Haven't had issues with it before, but now it just does not want to cooperate. Okay, so a lot of fun things happening with Modern recently. Someone did ask about the Eldrazi deck. Yes, we do have a blue-red Eldrazi deck here in the store, in the hands of David Bradbury, who is also our tech guy who created most of the fantastic things here.
Everyone's between games, but I'll move as soon as I can.
Thank you. But that deck did do well. It actually won our Wednesday tournament, so definitely does have a bit of game, and I think we're going to be seeing it put up some more performances as well. The forest, oh, absolutely. That might be the most real thing. I mean, it basically is actually part of the Matrix, and I'm not really here. But that just makes me want to eat a steak. And Peter also working on colorless Eldrazi, so we actually might be having colorless in addition to blue-red Eldrazi here in the store. But so far, the meta has not been completely taken over by it, which I am certainly happy about. I like having a big diversity of decks here in the store, and so far it has been pretty consistent at providing that.
Logan versus Hannah on Game 3. Logan's on the wall on Merfolk.
Excellent. Okay, so we do have a Game 3. It is going to be Logan, who is on Merfolk. This is the player who is on Merfolk, and I thought it was someone else. Going up against Hannah, who we saw in the last round, who is on that black-white life gain. They are the current players who are available to play. So, let's head on down to that match, and we're going to be seeing their Game 3. Venom carries. Okay. Excellent. So they're there. We're going to head on down and watch Game 3. Okay. As far as things go, Eldrazi I think is slightly favored against Burn because they have a faster clock. For Venom carries, still unsure as how dominant the deck is. It is certainly putting up some pretty frightening numbers, but as far as an emergency banning, I don't expect an emergency ban, just because there's only been one of those in Magic's history, which was the Jar. So, certainly an interesting thing, but I'm still waiting to see how the meta shakes out. I certainly have faith in the ability of the meta to heal itself. Also, I did watch Deadpool today. It was awesome. Very cool movie. Okay. Skull Clamp I don't think was emergency ban, but it may have been. I could be wrong on that. But certainly the deck is powerful. I think currently mostly online results, so a small grain of salt to take there. But so far Eldrazi I think taking up, oh good, what's the almost, I think just over 16% of the meta, most of which is online, but certainly some concerning numbers. So we have a Temple of Silence followed by a Swamp from Hannah. Logan not with a turn 1 play, but dropping a Mutavault and putting down a Silvergill Adept, revealing a Master of the Pearl Trident, so gonna draw a card off of that. Okay, so we do have a Vapor Snag, some Harbinger of Tides, that Master of the Trident, and a Mana Leak in the hand of Logan. And is that a Chalice of Life? Oh my goodness. I think that is a Chalice of Life from Hannah. 3 mana, taps to gain a life, and then if you do have 10 more life than you're starting, you get to transform it into the Chalice of Death. So, taking 3, going down to 17, and then going to be going back up to 18 at the end step. And a Marrow Reejery dropping, turning that Silvergill Adept into a 3/3. So Marrow Reejery going to be making a pretty interesting impact. This deck is delightful. This is just awesome. Alright, so it looks like she actually didn't activate her Chalice of Life, which is interesting. Almost possibly forgetting about it. Grim Lavamancer, absolutely true. I thought that I was a Cynic Mage and that I played red once, and that was the change of that. So, a Go for the Throat, taking down that Marrow Reejery, removing that from the battlefield. So, a little bit of value lost by Logan. Unable to cast that double blue spell. Drawing a Phantasmal Image, however, which might be able to copy that Silvergill Adept. Alright. Absolutely. Unfortunately, I don't think that we're going to see an emergency banning. My hope is to see this meta adapt. The GPs will definitely shed a lot of light as to whether or not that's something that can happen. Is a banning going to happen? I don't know. As it currently sits, and if it continues in its current vein, very likely, but that will be happening in April. In the meantime, I think it's a matter of trying to see what we can do to adjust to it, and hopefully make it not worth banning. And no, an Exquisite Blood getting countered by a mana leak, and telling him that that was not very nice. So an Exquisite Blood from Hannah, tapped out for it, getting hit by a 2-mana counterspell there. Okay, so Logan heading into his turn, so far a little bit hurt not having another blue source. Did draw a Spreading Seas, but not going to be super effective there. Otherwise, needs to get something going along online. No Lords as it currently sits. That Harbinger of Tide's not going to provide a whole lot of value otherwise. So a Phantasmal Image hitting this Silvergill Adept. Man. So, drawing a card with that Silvergill Adept and getting to the second blue source and able to actually hit a Spreading Seas onto a land. So Hannah now having access to blue if she's running Painful Truths, but which is pretty unlikely. Okay. Do we have a bunch of counterspells? Interestingly, one of the odd things is that we just have the Infect deck and this Merfolk deck being the ones that don't often run counterspells. The fact that we do have that Boggles and Infect, both are from the same pilot who happens to like counterspells, and Logan's Merfolk deck here just a little bit unusual in its construction. But we do have another Merfolk player that does not run any counters. And a Marrow Regery getting hit by a Go for the Throat, and then Logan Vapor Snagging his own Marrow Regery to bring it back to his hand, protect it from that kill spell. So a pretty interesting play there, going down to 19, but a nice way to save that Regery. Okay. So a swing for 4, not a whole lot happening as far as a clock goes, but right now it is enough, and with Hannah only presenting that Chalice of Life as anything that is actually affecting the board. Okay. So, looks like unable to pay for a spell, so not quite sure what is happening, but a Divinity of Pride. It looks like she might have a Path in hand as well, or was looking to cast a spell in addition, but that Divinity of Pride now standing in the way, and that Regery might actually be tapping it, or it's only when you cast another spell. But Logan very much pressure on the aggressive side now. I'm not sure if Hannah actually has enough time to counter it here in Game 3 of Round 2. Looks like deciding what he wants to do with it at the moment. That is a ghost, or that is oh my goodness, that is the black-white Shockland right now. But yeah, that is the black-white Shockland, got hit by a Spreading Seas. And apparently he also has a second Vapor Snag, so that Regery probably going to present a very formidable clock at this point. And just going for that Lord, probably going to try and activate another one of these. So, interesting, that does give them all Island Walk. Godless Shrine, thank you very much, goodness. So, swinging for 9, Hannah going down to 3, and then going to be gaining 1, so probably going to be at 4 at the end of this turn. Okay, so right now Logan at a very commanding place. Hannah, even if she swings for 4, going to be going up to 8.
I lost.
You lost? Well, that's because you're not playing Wargate.
That's true. That's true. I got Psionic Blasted.
You got Psionic Blasted? I swear to God, if you knock down this
No, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so a Divinity of Pride followed by a Vampire Nighthawk, and Hannah still does... Actually, I think she might have tapped wrong, because I don't think she lifted up her Path to Exile mana. I think she tapped all of her white sources as opposed to leaving up one of those white sources to path a card. So I think that might have been a misplay from Hannah. As I mean, she did end up casting the path this turn. So, but all in all,
tapped 4 mana.
She tapped 3 mana for the Vampire Nighthawk and then 1 for the path.
Okay. I thought she just played the Divinity this turn.
No, the Divinity was last turn.
Okay.
It's a very small thing, but I would have preferred her to leave up a black-white land anyway, just to signal more things.
Yeah, I would too. Reejery is a good one.
And a Marrow Reejery coming down.
Ooh.
Was already in... Man, Vapor snaked his own Reejery, actually, in response to the path. And...
Yep,
or Reejery, his own Lord of Atlantis. And game 3 going to Logan. Alright. Any chance you'd be willing to see if we can get another match?
Sure.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
If not, I can regale you with the story of how I got Psionic Blasted out.
Excellent. Duke, Nighthawk, absolutely an excellent Magic card.
Really need to find a way out. Or I need to not be so fat.
Okay. Oh, good. You guys are able to hear Hannah. That's fantastic. Hannah definitely losing to Merfolk, and I think that is actually her Merfolk list. So, unfortunate to take the loss there, and we are looking if we can get another match here in round 2 of 4 tonight. So, keep sticking with me. For those of you who are new, I will be talking in just a moment to introduce myself and this stream to any of you who might be new. So, I will see you in the booth. As for telling Hannah, I will. The chat says that you're not bad and that you're fantastic. They can hear you. She says thanks, chat. Okay, so for those of you who are just joining us, thank you for joining. My name is TJ. I do this stream 3 times a week, twice for Modern on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and Legacy on Fridays. If you are new, welcome. Thank you for joining. You guys are the reason why I am doing this. This green screen is being very unreasonable today. However, Life Warrior, I'll have to tell you that one. But otherwise, you know, the fact that so many people are willing to show up, that's the reason why I'm doing this. And it is just an absolute blast for me to continue coming back and doing. So, thank you to all of you who are joining. And as always, the chat being active is always a blast for me. I like interacting with you guys in between rounds and even during games, and you guys help catch me on all kinds of stuff. That is awesome. You have beautiful hands. That's a good point. I mean, it is all that you get to see of these players, except for some of them that get to step back here into the booth with me occasionally. But should be fun. Might be getting.
Doesn't look like we have anyone who's willing to move.
Okay, so no one currently all in the middle of games.
No.
Okay, so that is probably going to be. Are they all on game 3 at the moment?
Dylan is on game 2, but game 1 took 40 minutes, so I don't think that's going to end up.
Okay.
Ian's on game 3, and then Tron vs. Divinity is on game 3, and Tron's just Result Form Coil Engine, so I don't think that match is.
Okay, so most likely all of the matches that we currently have are coming to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I might be a little bit behind with this timer also.
It's possible.
Because you said that the game took 40 minutes and I have it listed as having 15 minutes left.
It's possible.
So, this timer is a little bit inaccurate. So, we should be having round 3 very shortly. In the meantime, you got Psionic Blasted.
I did get Psionic Blasted.
And how did you manage to do that?
So, funny enough, this is actually... I was at Card Kingdom on Sunday. I was playing Abs and Company, and I played the same player I did today. He went turn 1 Noble Hierarch off of Breeding Pool.
Okay.
So I figured, he's on Infect.
Yeah, that's a reasonable assumption.
So I played a Spellskite. I figured it was going to be great. And then the next turn he went Hallowed Fountain Geist to Saint Draft.
Okay.
Needless to say, that Spellskite was not very good there.
So, what kind of deck won game day? I actually have no idea. Do you know?
I think it might have been Eldrazi.
Okay.
I think Patrick won.
Every format.
Yeah.
Every format. No, but modern or standard not being a format that, to be honest, I pay a ton of attention to as it currently sits.
I know that the naming conventions are all over the place.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about standard right now is that their naming conventions are just absurd. It's like they just want to toss in the Khan's name for everything.
Yeah.
But they're the Khan's tribes. Warframe is coolest? I'm not sure if, other than... Okay, so you've had at least 2 comments. So, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is fantastic having you. I'm going to try and put Coleman a little bit more onto the screen here since he is hiding at the side. But thanks for joining us. It is always wonderful to have you all. And if you do want to hit that follow button, I'm a huge fan of that. It helps me to convince the store owner to keep giving me more resources, which is always nice. And so far it has been pretty effective. All these changes coming around because of the feedback that we get.
Yep.
So far the green screen being the biggest one in recent memory. I think we got that about a week and a half ago. Actually, I think exactly a week ago. And so
it might have been. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was last Saturday that we debuted this green screen. Still learning some of the things. Someone put out a really cool idea for us to do an idea of cycling a different basic force from different planes
for the
different
cool.
streams. So doing like a tour throughout the planes.
Yeah.
It's like have Kamigawa and Mirrodin and all
we need
kinds
a
of
lot
stuff.
of 8th edition lanes.
Yeah. As for how many followers we are at, I think we're nearing 700.
Yeah, I think so.
So pretty exciting there.
I think it's 670. I think that's the follower button.
Yeah, and that's when we started tonight. So hopefully 30 of you have followed. Unlikely, seeing as there's about 70 of you now. But while we do have some time, always a fun thing to toss out. When we get to 500 viewers in a single stream,
that's very true.
2 things are going to happen.
Well, one of them's more important than the other.
One of them is more important than the other, and that is the fact that we have a revised starter pack, which we'll be opening up.
Yep.
The other one is that I'm going to eat a Tybalt with Alfredo sauce.
Yes, you are.
Tybalt fettuccine Alfredo. It's going to be delicious. And then,
did we come down on fettuccine?
I am so convinced on fettuccine.
Okay.
I mean, like fettuccine noodle. Are you suggesting a different noodle?
No, I figured that it was just the Tybalt in Alfredo sauce, like not in a pasta.
Oh, well, I'm definitely, if it's just, I'm probably going to mix it into a pasta if possible to get some other flavors in there. But if it is just that, I'm definitely going to cut it to where it looks like fettuccine. Because if it's like spaghetti, then it's just going to become too pulpy.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
I've got a game plan for this.
Have you ever seen the Mega 64 video about Magic?
I don't think so. Oh, no, unfortunately. If we can convince David of that, it's his pack. What's the hope to pull in the revised booster? Pretty much all the dual lands.
I
don't think there's a whole lot of
that's
power.
just both, basically.
Bolt. Always we're looking
Bolt.
for a bolt.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Giant Growth.
Giant Growth. Pretty a hot tamale.
I mean, healing Salve's the best one of those 3, right?
I will argue Bolt all day.
I'm pretty sure it's Recall.
No, see, think about this. Why draw 3 when you can draw 7? Because you kill them and are going to game 2.
Or, in response to their Bolt, you draw 3 cards, and then you play Healing Salve. And then you gain 3 life.
But why gain 3 life when you can gain X, where X is the amount less than 20? Because you killed them, and you're going to game 2. Why get 3 mana when you can wipe their mana base because you killed them and they had to pick up their permanents to go to game 2?
Or you could just draw 3 cards. There's a reason this is like restricted in Vintage, and Bolt is, well, I'm not going to say barely playable because it's really good, but it's unlimited. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate. See, my logic is sound. But yeah, Bolt, clearly the best card.
Agree to I think it's still Giant Growth.
That's a reasonable argument to make.
Yeah.
Certainly Giant Growth is a good one. But nonetheless, that revised starter pack going to be an absolute blast. We have it in a pretty safe location currently.
It's good. No one's gonna try to take it.
Exactly. And then, we'll be opening it on stream. One thing that I've casually joked about, honestly, I'm not sure if I'll have to follow through, but is if we jump the 500 mark and go straight to 750 in the exact same stream, we'll open it with Cheeto fingers.
Ooh, I can't be a part of that. Cannot be a part of that.
Oh,
I would. How about we don't imagine Modern with Dark Ritual, please?
Modern with Dark Ritual would be it. I mean, turn 1 Liliana is always fun.
No, but then it's just Turn, and then it's just Storm, and
then it's always Storm.
Yeah.
Storm is just so good.
I mean, I enjoy Storm, but I don't want Storm being the best deck.
Yeah, Storm is a really fun to have fringe deck.
Yeah.
Or like good, but fringe.
Favorite casual card? It's a very good one.
Oh, gosh. Mana Clash. Mana Clash for me.
That's a good one.
Only way to win turn 1 in Modern. At least with a single card.
I was gonna say
only
there's-
one
there's
card.
a couple ways.
Only single card kill in Modern. on
Angelic Renewal is probably my favorite.
turn.
Angelic Renewal. It's 1 and a white. It's an enchantment.
Okay. You got me.
Whenever a creature, the next time a creature you control would die, sacrifice Angelic Renewal, return it to play.
So if a creature would die,
Yep.
it instead doesn't.
No, sorry. You sacrifice Angelic Renewal, bring that creature back to play.
And is it non-optional?
It is non-optional.
Ooh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Other favorite casual card? Satyr Fire Dancer.
Satyr Fire Dance is a good one.
I've got so many of those ones. Peter showing off his taste for Chaos Orb. Brilliant.
Yeah, how does Kark's Thumb interact with the flip cards? Because you are flipping the cards, right? You get another flip.
I think Kark's Thumb specifically says coin flip.
Oh man, it's
Clearly bad design.
yeah. It'd be a bit of a punt.
Yeah. Yep, it's if you would flip
Man.
pretty disappointing. But I've actually thought about putting together the Kark's Thumb Legacy deck.
Like, what was,
You run the 3 mana, take an extra turn if you win the coin flip.
Stitch in Time?
Yep. You also run Mana Clash. You run
Release the Ants. Get out of here with your Release the Ants.
You run the Carplusion Minotaur, I believe.
Okay.
Or the one that has like the upkeep cost of flipping. Basically, if it has a coin flipping ability,
yeah, okay.
you
Yeah.
run it in this Legacy deck with Kark's Thumb, and it's like a 0.017% chance of a Kark's Thumb being out, both players at 20 winning with a Mana Clash, which those are odds that I will take.
It's greater than 0, right?
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
infinitely greater than 0.
The best I've done with a Mana Clash is a turn 2 kill. It was a turn 1 Goblin Guide followed by turn 2 Mana Clashes. Got it myself down to 3 and then to 0. It was awesome. Kark's Thumb in Modern?
Build your own channel Fireball, right?
Pretty much. Pretty much. But overall, Kark's Thumb, I gotta play with that deck more often.
Yeah, that's one of those cards where I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Michael and Josh are going to play an exhibition game because Dylan and Ian are playing the Control Mirror, and they're on game 2.
What time is left?
8 minutes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Okay.
Something to watch for.
And what is it?
It's
you could just
Michael and I think Josh.
Okay, who's on the right? Or who's against the wall?
Michael is against the wall.
Michael is against the wall, going up against Josh, who is,
believe so.
I think, on Tron.
That sounds right.
Okay, so we're actually going to head down to that Bubble Hulk going up against a Mono Blue Tron so we can just have a little bit on the stream while we were waiting for round 2 to end. So we are going to have an exhibition match. Perfect. Alright, so let's head on down to that. Now I'll add a little thing that says it's an exhibition match. Boom. It's not fantastic, but it'll do.
It'll do.
Okay, so we're going to start talking about...
Okay, he lied to us. That is a Wild Mikado. I'm pretty sure it's Burn.
Okay, so this is definitely Burn now.
Blame Dylan.
No kidding.
That's where we're coming up on this.
No kidding. Okay, so Naya Burn going up against Mono Blue Tron, starting off with a Wild Nikadal, and can you tell him to flip his land? Michael, lands and back. Lands and back. Thank you for my editing. I added that last minute for our legacy one.
Don't worry, Sonora. We got that covered.
Absolutely. Nice guy, welcome back. I think you were joining us for the legacy stream last night. So, we have a expedition map from Josh off of a turn 1 Tron land. So far a good start, but at a pretty significant disadvantage against this burn deck.
Nothing but creatures.
So Michael putting himself down to 14. That is the one good news for Josh.
Yep.
The bad news is that so is Josh.
Yeah. Well, it's always that thing of, well, at least we're at the same life total, but your board state's a lot better than mine is.
Okay, so getting the second one, we'll be hitting Tron next turn. Does he have something to actually... I think that might be, you know, if he has a Platinum Angel or anything like that.
I think it's Condescend, double Thirst for Knowledge.
And I think that might actually be a win. Going down to 11, and never mind, this is, yeah, swing for...
Spell Burst, huh?
Wow. So, currently at 2, it's a swing for 12. No other burn spell in hand, unfortunately, for Michael.
Did we picnic?
I don't think that we picnicked. Hopefully not. Okay. Apparently it might be still...
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Because if it was, I was going to give Michael a lot of crap. Because he burned the stream.
I'm always a fan of seeing burn on stream.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Absolutely. They can only enforce at big streams, but it certainly helps for board clarity, so I try to at least have people do that here as well. Okay, so we are up to having that other land.
I believe he's got Tron, but it doesn't look like he can do anything with it.
A Sundering Titan would be sweet right now, but certainly not enough.
I don't think Sundering Titan wins him the game.
But it's sweet.
Yeah, it is sweet.
Knowing that Michael only has one card in hand, if he can't play an Ugin this turn, so that's unfortunate. No. Plays a Talisman. I don't think that that's enough, because unless he has an Angel.
He is building Storm Count.
That's true. Storm Count's important. And a Thirst for Knowledge looking for anything, but I doubt that there's anything on the main board.
Nope. Doesn't look like he has anything.
Okay.
Discard Oblivion Stone.
And
no, discard a Talisman.
Unable to activate the Oblivion Stone this turn, however.
Maybe he forgets to attack or literally does anything.
It's possible. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
That's...
Alright, so that was just one of our exhibition matches here. I think we are I'm going to rechange it to say that it is still in round 2.
Yep.
So, currently in round 2, still waiting on just one final match to end, so we should be getting ready for round 3 pretty shortly. Okay. As for the rule, it just makes a lot more sense for board clarity, having the things that are more relevant at the center of the table. And also, if you can go into each stream, especially from the commentator's perspective, where when I'm trying to do a bunch of multiple things at once, if I can immediately look at the stream and know where everything is laid out, it makes it significantly an improved experience for myself and able to do what I'm trying to do.
Not to mention you get to complain whenever anyone does it.
Yeah. So, is it a huge issue? Absolutely not, but it is certainly something that I try and have, and it makes my job significantly easier, and also for the job of people who are viewing. Okay. So, heading into another exhibition match. Wild Nacatl, Boros Charm, 2 lands, a Goblin Guide, a Lava Spike, and a Monastery Swiftspear.
Okay, so I'm pretty
sure
Michael's
this last turn?
It feels like last game.
Just like last game, except this game.
Although, if we're playing post-board, I don't know why he has Searing Blaze in attack. Way to go, Josh. Preemptively talking to that.
So we've got a Fetch, Shock, into 17, dropping down the Wild Nacatl. Next turn going to be a 3/3. Nice guy, welcome back. We are certainly happy to have you. Seem to be having some odd things happening with the stream tonight.
Yeah.
So, an odd day, but here on Valentine's Eve,
Spatial Contortion. Ooh,
that's
I
spicy.
like it. Plus 3, minus 3.
Okay. So Spatial Contortion, basically a nameless inversion, but for colorless.
It's also not tribal.
Not tribal. That is certainly a relevant fact.
It is one of the best ways to grow a goyf.
That's true. Actually, that, and then you also have, what is the red burn spell?
Tarfire is a good one.
Yep, Tarfire and Bitter Blossom.
Yep. By the way, pro tip, never Tarfire a 0/1 Tarmogoyf. It will not work the way you want it to work.
And really, you shouldn't Tarfire a Tarmogoyf.
Well, if you attack with your Goyf into their Goyf, you Tarfire it.
Okay.
That's how you do it.
Break that mirror.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have got a Lava Spike and a Monastery Swift
Is that
Spear.
an Urborg?
For which player?
For
In Josh's hand? Yeah, he does actually run Urborg.
Huh.
It makes the... make it to where some of the colors are a little bit less painful and can actually make it dismember significantly less painful.
Oh, that's fair.
So it's usually just a 1 of in the deck list. Setting up to get that Tron lands next turn. Might even have... So in Oblivion Stone. So likely what we're going to see is crack the Expedition map.
Get the 3rd Tron piece.
Yep. And then you have access to just blowing up the board
Yep.
when you need to. Biggest issue right now is that this is 6 damage coming in.
Ooh, I'm not sure. I think I might want to remand that. Yeah. I mean, it takes you off Tron this next turn. But if there's anything I've learned about Tron, it's that they always have it anyway.
Yeah, and Mono Blue Tron is a lot less about assembling Tron as quickly as possible, and more about delaying until you just kind of get into it naturally.
Yep.
Green Red Tron, of course, making a huge priority out of assembling Tron, but certainly Josh has that as less of a priority.
Yeah. I think I'd crack the map right now.
At the upkeep?
No, after you've drawn. Because you could easily just draw.
Right. That Ice Island is absolutely incredible. I'd like to see a full art of that land eventually.
Yeah.
That would be a really nice one.
I always enjoy 8th edition lands.
Okay.
Remanding the suspended spell. So much value.
A huge amount of value.
Ugh.
Basically just buys an entire turn. So both players at 13. Josh certainly loaded up on some counter spells, but no longer has that blue mana.
It's true.
Does have an Urborg, so possibly...
He also has a Treasure Mage.
Interesting.
So he could turn on Tron, and then maybe find Wormcoil?
Okay. So down to 9 and a swing for 2, and then likely going to see that Rift Bolt get suspended again. And we have a Searing Blaze for Michael, which is just
it's
super ineffective on the current board state. So, Josh, down to 6.
I do appreciate the Tron lands being from the same set.
Yeah,
That's
it is a huge
very,
plus.
very tilting when they're not. I'm not a fan of mismatched anything.
Man, you would hate some of my stuff.
Yeah,
I tend to believe in functionality.
Yeah.
Certainly for large tournaments, I get matching of everything, because there's the whole like concealing information by multiples. But for some things, it's just like I have whatever I have on hand, and it's not entirely worth it to me. Aesthetics are very much not my concern when it comes to Magic deck building. I'm a fan of functionality.
I need to have the aesthetics.
Yeah, but you play foil out decks too.
I sometimes foil out decks.
You dabble.
Yeah, I dabble. I have a foil in Vala.
See, that's not my thing.
Okay.
Yeah. The farthest in I've gone for something like that is I have...
are we going to see a Spellburst with buyback?
I think he has it, but probably saving it since he'll only have one shot at that one. He doesn't have enough blue mana to actually cast... So he will likely be buying back a spell. If he has the counter spell, this is
Are we
the
going
win.
in for the 2 points? I mean, 1 is functionally the same as 3, right? From this board state?
Pretty much, if that doesn't get removed, a burn spell has to be cast. This is a really risky play, because that Skullcrack will get hit by the Spellburst, but doing that post-combat...
Cannot tap. There you go.
If this is post-combat, I am very surprised, because otherwise that Monastery Swift Spear is a win still.
Yeah.
So I hope that this is not post-combat.
I believe this is post-combat. Oh, it might be... I think it's...
Pre-damage?
Pre-damage.
So what are we looking at here?
Oh, I think it is post-combat.
On the bright side, I think our next round is about to be up.
I am no longer in it, unfortunately, because I'm going to be leaving in a half hour anyway.
Oh, okay, then you're welcome to join me for a little bit. True, but I don't play that foiled Tybalt. That's just because I collect Tybalt.
Yeah.
As far as my decks go, I don't run foils in my decks. Because otherwise I'd have to foil out the whole thing. And if you're Peter, it looks amazing.
Yeah, but if you're anyone else...
But not for me.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have got a Treasure Mage, Josh at a lowly 1 life. Very interesting that Michael went for the end there. But I think we're about to see the end of this exhibition match and getting ready to head into round 3.
What are you getting here? You are getting Wormcoil Engine, right? I'm not...
Wormcoil Engine would very likely be the correct play, and
Ah.
it comes down to what Michael has in hand.
But, funny enough, he still has that Searing Blaze. Now he actually has a target for the Searing Blaze.
But Josh having the spell burst.
Oh, Platinum Angel's a good one.
That's a... Okay,
That's not a bad one.
that'll do.
Eidolon probably is fine. Yep.
The biggest thing is he had to tap out to do that.
Yeah.
If Michael gets another spell that hits... Ooh, and
No
an
blocks.
Eidolon.
No blocks.
Oh, man. Exactly. I can't have just one foil.
Yeah.
So, basically needs to... Okay, I think they're ending because it's the end of the exhibition
Also,
match.
because I'm pretty sure at this point, Michael doesn't have any more out since he's got the spell burst with buyback.
If he is able to untap
Yep.
with that, then very likely. Because it would take 2 burn spells to take down that Platinum Angel. And pre-board, that just is not an option. So, getting ready for round 3. And let's go ahead and just toss it back up to us until we find out what our next round is. That way we aren't just looking at an empty board. Right? Okay, we will see you all in a moment. So, thank you for joining us. Looks like some of you are new. We just had a little bit of an exhibition match going while some control decks. Someone was asking if we had them. Well, they are here. And we are now going to have Merfolk going up against the Mono Blue Tron that we just saw. So, we have got Josh on the wall, switching sides, it would seem, from what he was just on. Going to be on Mono Blue Tron, going up against Logan, who we saw take game 3 against the life game deck against Hannah. So basically two blue decks going head to head right now.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna give my personal edge to Merfolk.
I think
Merfolk.
I would too.
The spreading seas is going to be pretty relevant, and also already runs islands anyway.
Yeah.
So able to disable Tron lands and already unblockable.
Yep. And then depending on the list, then also may run Seize Claim.
Okay.
Although Ugin is a very, very powerful card.
Ugin is extremely powerful, so turn 4 could definitely be a turning point in this. So let's go ahead and get down to the match, and we will be watching it with you guys all, talking about things, and now I've over-elaborated what our job here is. See you down there. Okay, so both players getting ready here.
It's no longer an exhibition match.
Peter, yes, actually adding records to the stream is currently something that we are looking at adding. I just need to talk to David about the best way to do it and figure out the most aesthetically pleasing to add it. But that is currently on our to-do list to have, because I do agree that adding those player records would be fairly helpful. Doesn't add a ton of information, but it's one of those little things that just really increases the quality. Yep. So very much something that we are looking into doing.
I think you might have the players on the wrong sides.
See, I thought so.
Yeah.
He sent me the wrong thing. Man, we gotta have a talk with that Dylan.
Yeah. First he tells us Michael's on Hulk, then he plays Burn.
Exactly.
You are not the only one in love with Slivers. I love Slivers.
Okay. Slivers are pretty awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like they are 2-0 currently.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So heading into round 3, both of these players are 2-0.
Well, that's really impressive because the first round I saw Logan on was when he played against Affinity and he drew 4 Spreading Seas. And his opponent played Memnite, Signal Pest.
Logan beating Affinity.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. I'm going to double check that. Have him double check his
Yeah.
numbers there.
We should probably take the exhibition match off the screen.
Oh, thank you. Not used to having that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. So we had Urza's Mine from Josh, followed by a Cavern of Souls from Logan.
I'm very much willing to bet that this cavern is on Merfolk.
Okay, so this is actually not... Players are not both undefeated. So Logan is 1-1.
Oh, okay.
Josh
that makes
is
a lot more
2-0.
sense.
So this is one to where he got paired down.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's almost got Tron.
It's on Ape. Absolutely.
Should always name jellyfish with your caverns.
not. Actually, that isn't because of the... Interesting. So, as for getting those tournament stats, it is very much on my to-do list, and I've talked with David about doing that. But that one ends up having a huge amount of logistical work, updating what each player is on, what their records are, the different information from each round, and then having that change as we are trying to do a bunch of stuff. So, it is on my to-do list. If I can ever have someone out there possibly providing backup with a laptop, it becomes significantly easier, and I'll be trying to do that. So, a Silver Gill Adept from Logan with a Cavern of Souls. So, counterspells from Josh. Pretty significant there. And also having an Urborg. So now that, I guess that Mutavault can tap for black mana.
Looks like he has double map. But Josh has a Dismember. So that Dismember could be putting in some serious work.
Yeah. Only if, I mean, Silvergill Adept is not really the target that you want to hit.
No.
But that, I believe that's a Reejerey. Or a Merfolk, is that a Merfolk Sovereign?
I believe so.
That's a card that hasn't been in Merfolk list for some time, at least in your general lists. So, a little bit of an unusual inclusion there. The Merfolk Sovereign is there almost entirely because of the Dismember. That's pretty much it.
So the Urborg is there for the Dismember.
Yes. To respond
not
to
the Merfolk Sovereign.
No. The Merfolk Sovereign, in hand, definitely a little bit unusual. Can make some things unblockable, however. But usually, you know, your Spreading Seas are enough for that. So, not an inclusion that has been around for a while. A little bit of an interesting choice.
Alright, so it appears Josh is not really worried about double Adept, because he's going for the map.
Into Academy Runes.
Yep, and then put Academy Runes back on top.
So maybe looking, if he has another land, then if he has got like the Oblivion Stone in hand.
Oblivion Stone would be a really good one.
Because that means that he can play it this turn, activate it next. Doesn't look like he has it currently, but he does have a Thirst for Knowledge. So could be seeing that happening. So
got another Mutavault, and then I would if he has a third Spreading Seas, that would be incredible here. It doesn't look like he does. It looks like it's 3 lands and triple Lord. Looks like we're going to see a Reejerey. Yep, use the Cavern. Oh, we're seeing Merfolk Sovereign right off the top.
Okay, so actually that was in the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Merfolk Sovereign putting those up to 3 2s.
Yeah.
And, okay. Also
right.
toss a 3
I actually really like the aggressiveness here.
Absolutely. The later this game goes, the more trouble that he is in.
Yeah.
So we've got a swing currently 4-9. That Dismember going to take down the Sovereign, actually, it looks like. So turn that into a swing for 6. Josh still down to 10 and unable to cast that Thirst for Knowledge that I think he was hoping to. I think he has another Thirst in hand.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he has a lot of Condescend, which are really bad.
Very
against this Cavern here.
Yeah, really rough game 1 for Josh. Handful of counterspells against a turn 1 Cavern is just the worst place to be.
If he has... Okay.
A Reejerey. Okay.
But he did not tap the Cavern to play that Reejerey.
There are not 2 Spreading Seas on that one land. There's actually 2 Tron lands there that are both Spreading Seas. It's a little bit of an odd board state. Man, I was really expecting there to be less things that say Marrow on them.
Oh, there are a lot of things that say Marrow on it. Marrow Commerce is a personal favorite.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I played a lot of random cards. That Silent Arbiter is going to be great.
Okay. Does he have one in hand right now?
I believe he just drew it off the Thirst.
So Silent Arbiter going to be providing a pretty significant wall. Not going to be able to block, but just swinging it down to a single swing per turn. Granted, still for 4 damage.
That's true.
But that buys him 2 turns as opposed to the 1.
I believe he also has a repeal, so he's probably going to repeal the Lord and take less damage.
That looks to be the case. Okay.
So it's only going to be 3, 6, 9 damage, so he doesn't die.
Mm-hmm.
At least doesn't die this turn.
Okay. New to Merfolk, what are their main abilities? That is a fantastic question. So Marrow Reejerey, what you're looking at now, what the deck does is it's tribal, tries to hit a critical mass of those creatures. use some Spreading Seas to create islands out of their opponent's lands, and then using that Marrow Regery as well as Master of the Pearl Trident and Lord of Atlantis. Basically just various lords that, dang it, Kiora messing everything up for me.
Yeah.
And Master of the Pearl Trident, giving them huge amount of buffs that are also unblockable, acts as an aggro deck.
And then something like this, which is actually going to... This was really fun.
That only hits a tapped creature, I thought.
He taps it with the Marrow Regery, because it's when you cast a spell.
Oh my goodness, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
What a delightful little synergy there.
Yeah. That gets remanded, but it doesn't matter since he can play it.
Yeah. So Harbinger of the Tides...
That is actually one of my favorite synergies in Modern.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Dang it, man, this card searcher is a little bit off today. Sorry about that, everybody. So, Harbinger of the Tides and Josh picking up his cards. Game 1 going to Logan. Very much what we expected there. A lot of pressure being provided by those Merfolk.
Yes.
But to elaborate a little bit for Nice Guy, this Merfolk deck, what it is trying to do, ideally, is play either on turn 1 an Aether Vial or a 1-drop Merfolk in the form of Curse Catcher.
Ideally with a Cavern.
Ideally with a Cavern.
Yep.
And then as they just start casting cards on curve, using that Aether Vial to also get out some for some to accelerate other lords out. Most of their spells are 2 mana. So
he's got mismatched. He's got mismatched mana leaks.
This is Hannah's deck.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, Hannah the Life Warrior, as someone put it. So they put out these Merfolk. A wide variety of them give plus abilities to the other Merfolk. And can you ask a deck building? I'm going to assume that you mean a deck building question, and yes, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
As a match is going, we may not be able to provide a huge amount of advice or insight, but the chat should be able to help. And if we don't get to your question to the best of our ability or to a point where, we actually answer it, because we're just talking about the match, feel free to just let us know in between rounds, or at least me. I think you're only here for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'm only going to be here for probably till the end of the round.
Yeah. But please feel free to ask me again, and I should be able to provide some more in between rounds when I am not focusing on the game. But that's more than fine.
I should be in the chat after I leave, but...
True, you're always sitting in the chat from work.
Yep.
I won't tell your boss. Okay. So, Josh, going to be on the play.
Yep.
Going to help out a little bit, can start accelerating. But I think Oblivion Stone, really necessary card at this point.
Oblivion Stone's going to be really good.
Protecting a Platinum Angel, also very important, because then you can even win with the Platinum Angel through flying,
That's true.
which Merfolk has no ability to actually compete with.
Depending on the list, some lists play Coralhelm Commander, which, when it's fully leveled up, has flying.
I don't think this one does.
But
biggest
it's not a
thing is
very
to watch out
common
for
card.
Harbinger.
Yes.
Keep a counter spell up for that Harbinger.
Yeah. That's the one thing that when Harbinger came out, no one really played around. And now every time that I play against Merfolk, I always try to play around it.
Yeah, that was a very sweet play. I liked that a lot. That is a very sweet list, actually. Congratulations.
Sedge Sliver. Ooh.
Loving it. That's sweet. You want it based around Stormtide Leviathan? Oh, okay, so you're looking for how to build a deck around Stormtide Leviathan? It depends on if you are looking for it to be modern legal, because if so, that's going to be tricky.
Yeah.
At that point, maybe Gifts. Esper Gifts, probably your best bet.
Gifts is a good one. If you want to go all in on the, I'm going to put something huge into play, you can play Quicksilver Amulet.
True.
If you want to go all in on that. Maybe a Nykthos deck.
Nykthos, a mono blue devotion, like from
list.
Standard.
Yep.
Definitely possible. The problem is that Stormtide Leviathan will be tricky.
Yeah.
You'll have trouble against...
Most enjoyment. I don't know. I've definitely resolved Stormtide Leviathan in Limited, and it's just been absurd.
X is a pretty solid moat in Modern as well.
Yes.
Basically, aside from Affinity, not a whole lot of flying.
Yeah.
So could prohibit some aggressive strategies.
Although, funny enough, not very good against Merfolk, because they all have Island Walk.
They all have Island Walk.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, a turn 1 Tron land from
Ooh,
Josh.
got a Vial.
Logan with an island going into an Aether Vial. not a Cavern of Soul, which is what he's looking, but that Aether Vial allows him to get beyond a lot of counter spells as well.
Although Josh does have actually a pretty good, or not bad start, because...
2 of the same Tron land, however.
Logan does have a Spreading Seas.
Okay.
So, he's got double Spreading Seas, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But casting those right now is really just going to slow down his own game plan. He can do a Spreading Seas and then put down a Curse Catcher, however.
I would definitely reveal this Curse Catcher.
Why would you do that, actually?
Because you're going to be violating the Curse Catcher.
Right.
Because...
why not get the potential gotcha?
I mean, I do love me... Ooh, that is a Sun Droplet.
That is lovely. That's an I have not seen that piece of tech before. Especially not for Merfolk.
Oh, that's.
I haven't seen it in
great.
Mono Blue Tron, but I actually really like that.
Yeah, it actually is pretty good with those talismans because you deal a damage to yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
If he gets 2 Sun Droplets, that means he'll actually start gaining life.
And the
it's very slow, but
still,
it's very good. It's very cool.
The interesting thing about Sun Droplet is that it's just whenever you're dealt damage, not whenever it's damage that an opponent controls, like from a source that they control. Alright, and another Silvergill Adept coming into play. Drawn a card. Looks like putting it in off of that Aether Vial so he doesn't have to reveal one. Tells me that he's probably light on some of those in hand, but it doesn't look to be the case, unless that is 3 Spreading Seas.
It's possible. Or it might be 2 Spreading Seas and a Rejury.
Okay. A Rejury would also... Those are kind of the main ones that we've seen, at least foil in this deck.
Yep. A Vial and a second Curse Catcher is going to be pretty good here.
Yep, slows down a lot, but really now Josh functionally going to be at 19 before the next attack, so that Sun Droplet going to be a pretty sizable effect.
Okay, well, drawing a land was good for him. Because you always want to draw lands.
Oh, always.
Yeah.
And especially with it being an island, I mean, he's about to be neck deep in islands once those...
That's very true.
So it looks like you are right that it might be 2 Rejuries and... Ooh.
Is that a Silent Arbiter off the top?
So that is a repeal on the Vial.
Ooh.
So now those Rejuries unable to come into play. Yeah. Still has 2 things.
And he might be able to hold up, oh, he's just playing Treasure Mage. Okay.
Okay.
Gonna find Worm Coil? Yep.
I can totally get behind that. Okay. That is awesome. Chromanticores. Love it. Alright, so 2 Curse Catchers, 2 Silvergill Adepts, and unfortunately no way to get those Giant Lords into play yet.
That's true.
So not a very fast clock presented by Logan as of yet, and that Worm Coil engine, once it resolves, is going to be a pretty prohibitive wall. Granted, only if he cannot get Island Walk out.
Yeah.
A Cozy's Trickster in hand for Logan.
And if only that was last turn, I would have had a counter on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the Spreading Seas here. I think I'd rather play the Trickster and replay the Vial.
Yeah, and just start increasing that clock. Because you do have to race that Sun Droplet, which is very doable, but right now it is a pretty prohibitive wall.
And if he draws a land, you have to worry about the Worm Coil engine.
Yes. So, the main issue right now is that as long as Logan is unable to get a Lord, and if Josh can keep one of those Lords resolving, then he's getting into a decent spot, unable to get a whole lot of fast mana yet, but if he can get into, say, an Oblivion Stone, wipe that board, first of all, take down those Spreading Seas that are keeping his cards down, and also wipe Merfolk's board, that's going to be a really impactful
definitely trade and take 2.
Okay. So, another 2 counters going on there, but we're going to be seeing him at 18 at his upkeep.
Yeah. The Sun Droplet, I guess I wasn't really expecting it to be this good, but it's been really good. Yeah,
not a card that you would expect to have a high impact right off the bat, but it is certainly making an impression. Cozy's Trickster coming to the battlefield, that is whenever a player an opponent shuffles their library, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. Not fantastic against Mono Blue Tron. Really shines when you already have the Island Walk against fetch heavy decks.
Yes. Though I believe he has 2 Harbingers, but he can't actually put the Master into play, or the Mara Reacher into play just yet.
Yeah, and most likely we're going to be seeing that Aether Vial take out next turn.
Yeah.
That's at least very much what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
But that Mirror Regery still not giving them Island Walk.
Yeah.
So with Logan so far not having any option for Island Walk, that Worm Coil Engine is pretty prohibitive because, you know, he takes 1-2 damage, gets counters,
Yeah,
and is able to gain a huge amount of life. So
he's probably going to go to 26 here because I don't see a world when he doesn't attack.
He will not if he does, however, because that Aether Vial is going to slam down in Harbinger at the Tides if he does go for that.
Yeah, but if he does it during his combat, he can replay it the second main phase.
True. Absolutely true. And then it has that Harbinger, at least one of them, off the battlefield. So it comes down to, can he avoid making any quick decisions? Another important thing is if he has a repeal, hitting that Aether Vial, going to be huge.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he might have a repeal in hand. Possibly a Silent
This
Arbiter.
looks like Silent Arbiter.
So hopefully he doesn't attack this turn, otherwise he will walk into that. But otherwise, again, that Silent Arbiter.
Ah, he sniffs it out. He sniffs out the Harbinger.
Mm-hmm. So being cautious of that, and we are about to see that Regery. Unfortunately, the Harbinger, when it casts, I'm going to be able to get rid of one of those cards.
Yeah. I would imagine it's probably going to go after either Silent Arbiter. I think it's probably going to go after Silent Arbiter.
Very likely just to get bigger swings in.
Yeah.
The biggest issue still is that you don't have the Island Walk.
Yeah.
He does have 2 Harbingers, so most likely going to be going for one of them this turn, the other one next turn. But still.
Oh, you do get to play a Silver Gale Adept and untap it. So I guess that's fair. Get those lines in.
Okay.
He is bouncing the Worm Coil. Okay.
It is probably one of the more prohibitive things, and it's going to... I mean, only one creature attacking this turn. We're going to see a swing for, what, 3?
Yeah, but it just gets blocked by the Silent Arbiter.
Yeah, not super impressive.
Yeah.
So probably even going to be passing the turn.
I think so.
No mana up currently as far as Logan's concerned for possibly trying to counter.
Yeah. I mean, you don't actually have to attack. You don't actually have to block since you have the Sun Droplet.
True, but I mean, it's probably better to.
Probably.
There's not a whole lot of downside to it.
I mean, the only card you should be worried about is maybe Vapor Snag, but he would have Vapor Snagged that before he got to his next step.
And letting that attack go through, so I'm going to be seeing him currently at 18 off after that life gain trigger, just making sure that his sticks around. No 1-mana Lords to bring in with that Aether Vial, but
that's true.
Playing cautious when it's going to have a really low cost, I can at least understand that.
Yeah, I can as well. I'm going to see the Worm Coil Engine back down.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have liked to have seen a map instead.
Instead of the Worm Coil Engine?
Yeah, although this definitely does play around a second Harbinger.
Yeah. And the map does make the Coziest Trickster larger. Not super relevant right now.
That's true.
But a little bit relevant. We'll say a little bit relevant. So still with no Island Walk to be seen, I think Logan has another Spreading Seas in hand, and unfortunately just got the mana leak that he would have wanted.
Yeah.
One turn too late.
Yeah. Although, depends on what he brings back, where he bounces with this Harbinger.
I'm going to give credit to Bermuda Rhombus really quickly for just nailing that pun in the chat. Credit to that.
Yep.
So, more... So we have a Silvergill Adept in hand. Might want to flash it in. Has, I think, the other Harbinger. May not want to reveal that he has that in hand.
That's true.
Maybe wants to use that vial, but if he uses the vial, it takes away that option of doing it off of the vial for the instant speed. So
I think he also wants to hold up the mana leak.
That is a big issue right now. I mean, getting that Aether Vial up to 3, I can understand it, but it may have been just a little bit too hasty. So. He had to do it before knowing he was going to get his 3rd land, so I understand the position, but certainly turning out to be a downside at this point.
I would not want to uptick either one of my vials from here, though.
Oh, absolutely. This is about as high as they're going to be going.
Yeah.
So, at this point, I don't think that Mana Leak is going to be a super effective play right now.
I also don't think that... I think I'd want to play that... Or I'd want to put that Silvergill into play. Like, I'd want to...
Maybe choosing to do that at the end step.
Yeah. Okay, so the map.
That's true. Peter, basically one of the things is that Oblivion Stone's still a very huge card.
Yeah.
If Logan's aware of it, possibly trying to keep that Mana Leak up for it.
I guess that's fair. And also Ugin. Ugin, you can still mana leak.
Yes, he still can't cast it yet, but
no, but he is getting closer.
yes. And
Vile,
an
not
Aether
a great draw.
No, I mean, at least that's not his draw for the turn.
That's fair.
It at least digs him a little bit deeper. And
Hercule's Recall.
And is that about a win?
That is very close.
We are looking at, what, 2 lords on the battle? 1 lord right now.
That'd be...
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
2,
9, 10,
4,
11,
6.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I think that is an exact kill.
Yeah, I think
off
so
of the
too.
circles. If Josh doesn't have a counter spell, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think we're about to see game
And he
2
has
for the Lord.
mana leak also.
Ooh. So I think he's doing his math now, but I'm pretty sure he's got exactly
I
enough.
think so too. 3, 6, 9,
Wow.
12,
Of the draws
14, 16, 18, 20. I count 20 exactly. Yeah.
of the draws that you were looking for, this is
Yeah,
it.
that was a pretty good draw.
No, man.
Yeah. Hercule's Recall you. I would attempt to counter that if I were Josh.
Certainly the right play currently.
Yeah. Oh, and he's gonna be 1 mana short.
And a condescend.
But he has the mana leak. Can only pay 2.
That is heartbreaking.
Funny enough, playing that map.
Actually ends up paying.
Yeah.
I told you you shouldn't have played it.
Oof.
To Nice Guy, Path is an extremely good card. I would highly recommend putting it into your deck if you have that option.
Path to Exile is very, very good.
And Josh picking up those artifacts, and I think we are about to see an exact swing for 20.
Just sending them all in.
Good formation, too. They've been practicing.
Yeah.
That is the Merfolk drill team, actually.
Yeah, they are very synchronized.
And
Thirst for Knowledge? Sure, I can respect that.
okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure that every time that I've almost killed him, he's always done a Thirst for Knowledge in response. And I think it's...
Dismember, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. So that is the end of that round 3 match. Merfolk getting it in 2, and if you are currently just joining us, stick with us for just a moment. We are going to try and get another match up on this stream for you all. So, should be able to get one fairly shortly. That is my hope, at least.
Hercule's Recall. They just do not print spells like that anymore.
No, they do not. That's... Man, I mistyped it again. I don't know why, man. I don't know why. Okay, so let's go ahead and... yeah, that was a joke, Thirst.
Yep.
That is a joke, Thirst.
It's
Alright.
one of my favorite ways to play Thirst for Knowledge. Oh, I'm dead. Whatever.
Another match, or if you'd like to. Excellent. So we are currently trying to get another match for you here.
Mind if you could find us another match?
But for those of you just joining,
Thanks.
my name is TJ.
What?
This is Coleman,
Whoever's available.
and we are streaming from Geek Fortress in
Sweet, thanks.
Snohomish, Washington. This is a part of our weekly Modern tournament. We also have another one on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. For those of you thinking, what time is that where I am? It is currently 8:21 here.
Yeah.
So our Wednesday tournament will be starting at 7 o'clock, so an hour and 20 minutes before this on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining. It is a blast having you guys. If you do ever have any questions, comments, or feedback, please do let us know. We are always open to any kind of feedback, trying to improve it. One of the things that we are currently looking to do is add the records of the players above their name. Something that we are looking to do, just have to figure out the best way to go about it, and the best way to also get that information consistently. So, certainly some interesting things, and what...
Way to go foil a Johnny. Man, like, A+ pun game.
No kidding. What new Scapeshift deck?
Veteran Explorer Burning or Scapeshift.
That sounds awesome.
I'm into this.
I mean, definitely not falling within Modern, but I am so okay with that.
Plus Cabal. Yeah, well, when you're playing Veteran Explorer.
Let's see if I can change the name of their text for us. I cannot.
No, I think it's on
them?
his own.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly hides into that chat. There's a mysterious person asking about Scapeshift.
Phew. Maybe he's just trying to see if anyone has come up with the same thing he has. And
Possibly.
he's just trying to mask his name.
All right,
Or
so
her name.
time to do one of our fun little things as we are waiting for another match. I am curious. Let us know where you guys are watching from. If you want to let us know, it is always interesting to see how far it is. And while you guys are hopefully doing that, we will talk about what we think of Blue Moon right now, which I think is actually pretty solid right now.
I think Blue Moon is actually a very good deck.
Very tunable. Blood Moon, very good at the moment.
Yep. Sometimes it's the 3 mana win the game.
I am a little bit unsure about Vidalcan Shackles at the moment.
I actually a big fan of Vidalcan Shackles, actually.
I like it, but the biggest issue is that if you are trying to meta for that Eldrazi deck, things like that, you're just not often going to get to enough islands to take those down. So...
Most everyone's in a match right now. However, I got someone lined up for you as soon as I finish the game.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we should be having a match very shortly as soon as they are done with their game.
Ellensburg? Why would you live in Ellensburg?
Ellensburg? Definitely, come play with us sometime. Yeah. It's just a short, long drive, but come play. We're in Snohomish. Always good. 8 islands, 3 streamers. I'm not sure.
3 Steam Vents, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so
certainly you do have enough. The biggest issue is getting it out in time to actually take control and take advantage of those cards. But, man, this is awesome. A lot of people, looks like mostly the United States, and boom, right as I said, Australia shows up to the party.
Yep.
So, thank you, everybody, for joining. It is really, I mean, I try to say it often, but I do really appreciate all of you who do come out and watch this so consistently. And to those of you who are new, it means a lot to me from just the perspective of someone who talks at a camera and people seem to be entertained by it. So, but we are located in Snohomish, Washington, and always happy to answer that one. But yeah, so thank you to all of you. If you do want to show up again, I'm always happy to have you. It's a fantastic time, and hopefully I am at least moderately entertaining. Like that's my goal, is to, like, if I can hit moderately.
As long as you have reasonable goals, you'll never be disappointed.
Man, talk about life models. My goodness. So, but absolutely trying to keep it slow, because I mean, when this stream certainly went up from having like 5 people to 20, immediately I was like, I can do so much with this. And I'm trying so hard not to get completely over-ambitious and like overshoot it and basically having... It's not even that. It's that I don't want to have a bunch of half-done, half-baked ideas that don't come across as a very solid product.
That's fair.
So I'm trying to be very methodical about when I'm stepping forward with different and new things to make sure that it doesn't come across as a total disaster. As long as you're disappointed, as long as you're disappointed, you'll never have reasonable goals.
Words to live by, right?
That's actually pretty reasonable to say.
Yeah.
Certainly not disappointed yet. This stream has gone so far above and beyond anything that I could have hoped for, to a point of near extremism. About burning out.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'll take anything when it comes to burn. Burn is so much fun.
As soon as I said it, I knew that he was gonna say that.
There's currently a pun battle happening in the chat.
Yeah.
And
I approve of pun battles.
At the end, I might just have to make an honorary, completely irrelevant award to whoever I think does a lot of it.
Vampire Nighthawk.
Thank you very much. As much as I try to limit when I say this, because I really don't want to come across as fishing for compliments, but one of the types of feedback that does honestly help me a lot is good feedback about the things that we're doing right.
Oh yeah.
Because
someone coming up to you and telling you everything that you did wrong gets really annoying after a while.
People telling me the things I can improve, huge, because I can change those things. But telling me the things that I'm doing right, if that's what you're thinking of as well, it's something that means that if I just tried that one time, I can put so much more effort into that one good thing that makes a difference.
Yeah.
So it's something that I can just start building a much more consistent product.
That's fair.
It's like using Pandora. Sometimes you got a thumbs down because you don't want to have that happen again.
Okay.
But sometimes you thumbs up, and that means that I can continue shooting for that goal line of the things that you like.
Okay. Also, Pandora not sponsoring the stream.
Generic Pandora brand.
If Pandora wants to sponsor the stream, just
we use generic Pandora, much
send an
like I
email.
drink generic water, generic beverages, and have generic Snickers.
I drink some generic Monster energy drinks.
Exactly. Can we put on a Giralf's Messenger deck? I'll tell you what, if you build it and come play here...
Oh, yeah. Instantly. I will be a fan of you.
I think you were from Maine, but nonetheless...
Yeah.
Absolutely, if someone puts together a Giralf's Messenger deck... And
also, if you send me the deck list, I'll try to put it together.
This guy and David as well.
Yeah.
Always open to trying out some of those decks. Okay. So, excellent. One question that I have about that card text is, should I do it more, less, or the exact same amount that I am? Because I'm trying not to do it so much that it ends up distracting, and also so that I'm able to kind of focus on other things, since it is a time commitment to get those cards up. But if you guys want more of those cards to be displayed, or to have, like, because I try and, the ones that I bring up, leave them up for a bit so that you have that opportunity to see it.
Yep.
But... if you guys happen to have any feedback on more, less, or exactly the same, even on that card reader, that's useful to me. A Vengevine deck, we still don't have any in the store right now. Vengevine in a pretty rough spot at the moment with the number of Relic of Progendus running around.
Yeah.
We have some people who have built it.
I'm very sad about that because Vengevine is one of my favorite cards.
Okay.
But...
Okay. That's a good point. So, Zabezic, I'm going to say it's Zabezic. I'm guessing. If it's wrong, don't, you feel free to correct me, but, definitely I can work on, basically, when we mention a card, bringing it up. Especially if they're uncommon. Yeah,
I don't know any deck, or I should say, I don't know every card off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. And when I do, sometimes I'm wrong about it.
Yeah.
So, pulling it up is just great.
Bagudin, we do have Kiki decks here.
That's true.
I think you are one of them.
I am one of them, yes.
Not right now. You actually have got to head off to work. But we do have Kiki decks here. And Renga, absolutely. Interacting with the chat is very much one of the highlights of this for me. I get to do it 3 times a week, interact with you guys, and as much as you are all names in a chat stream to me, to be honest, it's something that I look forward to, and, like, people ask me, like, I'm not sure if this is said or not, but I tell, like, stories about when I was interacting with you guys, and I, like, refer to you guys based on the name. So, it's certainly something that is a lot of fun for me. Interacting with you guys in the chat is just such a blast
There's
for me.
your pen back.
Thank you. I got excited. That
pen didn't know what hit it.
No, it did not.
I'll give you a hint. It was the wall. The wall hit it.
When you play Burn and Affinity, you always hit hard, you hit fast, and you call it a day. And then you go get a snack and wait for the next round.
You go get a generic print stickers, right?
Yeah. Chris saying that we provide excellent content. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
That's certainly something that I have improved a lot on over time. I mean, I don't want to encourage you to go to, like, our first stream, but I've certainly improved.
The quality has definitely improved.
So I'm getting much better. One of the things that someone kind of gave me the advice to do was to try and describe the board state as if I was describing it to someone who's blind.
Oh, okay.
So that, you know...
Basically broadcasting over the radio?
Exactly. Yeah. To just try and inform those things so that even if you don't know the names of those cards, they're out there as a knowledge base.
That's true.
So it's something that hopefully since I've started doing that, I started doing that maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks. It's a fairly recent change, but hopefully the quality improvement has been noticeable. I feel like it has been from when I'm just trying to critique myself. Foila Johnny, all of my children are my favorites. You are my favorite, Foila Johnny. You are like the promo a Johnny Vengeance to me.
I got pack foil a Johnny Vengeance all day.
Oh, okay, that's also really sweet. Or the dual deck of Johnny, really good art. Only slightly worsened because you know it's a dual deck one, even though that's probably one of my favorite arts for it.
I do like the Pro Tour of Johnny is a good one.
Oh, I don't know that one.
That's a really good one. It's I think it's in Japanese. I'm not sure about that one. Maybe the chat can correct me, but I think it's only a Japanese promo.
Interesting. Super sad about Angel's Grace spiking price. Yeah, the price spikes of Modern certainly. I
was really sad about Painter Servant.
I know. I actually happened to pick one up, but just to try it out. But it's certainly a problem. I think the issue right now is that there is just it works, and so the people who have that capacity to do buyouts, it definitely works. To Sirio, we should be able to get another match up shortly. So, Big Susan Sirio, we are just waiting. I'm not honestly sure what it is, but as soon as they're done with their game, we should... If you want to actually open the door really quick and take a quick look. Nothing currently?
Nothing currently.
Okay. But we are going to get up a match as soon as we possibly can. Very likely going to be a... Game 3, just with the time consideration as it currently stands. So we should be able to get that. If not, stick with us for just a little bit. It's a blast having you guys and interacting. Yep. And if there is anything that you guys want us to discuss, we are certainly happy to do it.
Yep. I am a big fan of brews, no matter what they are.
Oh, absolutely. Are you still working on my Gentleman Quarterly deck?
I am. I have 50 out of 60 cards now.
Ooh, send me a list and I'll help work on the last of it. But the buyouts not being buyouts... yes, and I know that there are actually some independent, like, some big names within the, especially the finance community, have actually been looking into, like, tracking out why these are happening.
Yeah,
and
I've seen that too.
I know that, I think actually MTG Peter, the guy who does MTG Top 8, has been looking into it.
Really?
Yeah, or at least trying to encourage people looking into it. So, my hope is to see something happen, either produce, and I would like to just see a difference in approach to the way that stores allow, I mean... I don't know finances enough to fully comment on this. So take everything that I say.
I don't either.
With a very significant amount of a grain of salt.
I mean, I have been a speculator before, but that was when I still played Standard and
even from finances from like a grander scale of online stores. Yeah. I'm not sure if it is a wise decision to put a limit on how many can be bought at a single time, because that could end up being a huge problem if that's part of their regular business, or if it should be good. I'm honestly not sure. But someone asking, are these matches going on the same place that we're located? Yes, we are hiding in the broom closet of this store. We are in
all these matches are taking place maybe 15 feet away through a door.
Yeah, we are at Geek Fortress in Snohomish, Washington. It's an absolute blast to do this, but certainly tends to get a little bit cramped. Before we got this green screen,
$35.
That is absurd.
I'm really glad I picked up my set, but
yep. To the Grim Lava Mincer, Merfolk took the win. And also, thank you for adding these to YouTube later. Oh, excellent. Happy to help. That's something we were able to recently do. We do have a Geek Fortress YouTube page that we post these to. So if you do ever miss things and want to catch up on it, they are on YouTube later. So that's always fun. We all use a private third party for the Universal Pricing Analyst. Oh. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't fully know again, finances not being one of my strong points.
Yeah, my degree's in philosophy, man. Not finance.
And mine have certainly at least what I'm studying is environmental science.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, definitely not with a highlight. Estiman? I don't entirely know that, but it's going fantastic.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Having a wonderful blast tonight, watching some Modern, hopefully going to have another one here before the end of round 3, and then head into a sweet round 4. Human Being, also welcome, and to MGT Shenanigans, asking, and I'm going to point this at you first, what are your thoughts on the Eldrazi decks in Modern, and there being so many top 8s at the Pro Tour, do you think that there's going to be anything banned?
Ooh, I guess that's the question on everyone's mind right now.
I've certainly said my thoughts before, so I'll let you lead, and then I can follow up with mine if they differ.
Well, I mean, historically, Pro Tours have been a different metagame than everything else. The one point that I have going back to this is Pro Tour Berlin, when everyone was on Elves, and the top 4 was entirely Elves. Mm-hmm. Everyone called for something out of the deck to be banned. It was probably Glimpse of Nature. But as the metagame kept going on, the meta adapted. Like, even in that top 8, probably the best deck of that format was in the Tezzeret deck. Mm-hmm. So I don't think anything needs to be banned because we don't have enough information. But going forward, if the next 5 Grand Prix top 8s are just all Eldrazi and no one has seemed to figure it out, then maybe we can start talking about maybe Eldrazi Temple getting banned or maybe Eye of Ugin getting banned. I just don't think we have enough information at the moment.
Yeah. I agree for the most part.
Yeah.
One thing is I don't think emergency ban is at
Oh,
all an
I'm
option.
not advocating for emergency ban. I'm talking about the next ban
The April
restricted
one?
announcement. We can talk about it then.
But the biggest thing is I completely agree. I'm a big believer in the modern meta game adapting and innovating. And if we got 3 big Grand Prix coming up that should all provide a lot of information for us.
Yeah.
Concerning numbers put up largely online, so, something to consider. But Eldrazi at the moment taking up almost, I think, like 16% of the metagame.
Yeah, I think that's just because
is-
it's a new deck. Everyone wants to play it. Everyone wants to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, but very concerning initial numbers, nonetheless.
Yeah.
And so if that definitely continues, then there's a reason to be looking at bannings.
Yes.
One of the biggest benefits of waiting until April is, if you have noticed, I spend a ton of time online looking at all this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a huge amount of contention as to what should be banned.
Yeah.
I mean, Eldrazi Temple, Ayavugan, Chalice of the Void comes up in conversations.
I don't think it should be Chalice of the Void.
But that's still a discussion that exists. Eldrazi Mimic is sometimes a discussion. And while I agree with some more than others, most likely, if it's going to be, I personally think it'll be at one of those 2 lands.
Yeah.
3 months of information is a huge amount of information at knowing which one is actually the problem.
Yeah. And all of this talk about emergency banning is reminding me way too much of Jeskai Ascendancy.
I do remember that card.
With when everyone was super concerned about Jeskai Ascendancy, that this deck has no bad matchups. It's unbeatable, and now it's a fringe contender at best.
Granted, that was because of Treasure Cruise.
No, this was before the Treasure Cruise deck, the 4-color Ascendancy.
Oh, okay. I'm remembering the Treasure Cruise deck.
Well, the Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time don't count because that's.
But one thing is definitely if Treasure Cruise was not emergency banned.
Oh yeah, they're not banning anything from this if Treasure Cruise didn't get emergency banned.
But Ty absolutely bringing up a good point, which is that a huge amount of these online wins are from Eldrazi, and I agree that if it continues, there's a problem.
Yes,
but I'm really looking forward to seeing how the adaptation happens. Sometimes it doesn't come down to a simple sideboard card, which is something that modern players are so accustomed to because of the nature of the format.
Yeah, because sideboarding is just so powerful.
But it might come down to the fact that we need to relook at the way that we even approach deck building conceptually.
Yep.
And approach it with an entirely new way. And I am certainly not an absolute expert on the modern format. I can only comment on the decks that Affinity. Not a whole lot of changes needed. I'm trying out a Painter Servant in the sideboard for testing.
I play Abzan Company. I don't really need to change a whole lot.
Yeah, but absolutely, there could be some changes, and I hope to see those things adjust.
I hope Sword of the Meek gets unbanned at some point. But I'm gonna quote Martin Goldman Kirst on this one. That is the definition of the card you need to get right.
Which one?
Sword of the Meek. Because if you get Sword of the Meek wrong, you will never live it down.
Yep. Now, did you play in regionals?
I did not play in regionals.
I did not either. I was actually pretty burnt out from the GP in Vancouver. That was where
I woke up at 1 p.m.
My Magic playing button budget. My Magic playing button.
Yeah. I did go down there to see how some of my friends were doing, and one of my friends made the finals.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing Jund, and he said that Jund was probably the best deck in the room because you just were able to play all the removal spells, and Reality Smasher was not as big as everyone thought.
Yeah, but as far as unbannings go, I am actually a big fan of unbannings right now. I think the best thing was to wait after banning. Wait that 3 months, because you don't want to have too many variables.
Yeah, that's very true.
And you just wouldn't know where the information or what is actually causing different fluctuations.
Yeah.
If that was the case. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some possible unbannings now that Twin has been banned. That means that Preordain and Ancestral Visions, both cards that I think are
I don't think I would touch Ancestral Visions.
I
think that card...
It would be one or the other, and I think Preordain is definitely more favorable.
I could see Preordain coming off. I just don't think I could see Ancestral Visions. Stoneforge Mystic will never come off.
Unfortunately, I think that is true.
I
think it's mostly an issue of creating consistency and repetitive gameplay more than it is a power level concern.
Yeah. Also, Stoneforge should stay banned for the same reason Pod is banned, which is it makes every future equipment worse to play.
Mm-hmm.
Because their reason for banning Pod, which I don't want to get started on that because that was my deck, and I'm still a little annoyed, was that it just made every creature worse for them to print because, well, what does this do in the pod deck?
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that's actually my biggest concern as far as Eye of Ugin goes for bannings, is that it reminds me a lot of pod.
Yeah.
In that, more of the consistency to where once you have that engine online, the consistency of the deck hugely increases, and what you start seeing is that when they have that assembled, their game plan becomes so repetitious. And it's a very light comparison. It maybe not be a huge one, but nonetheless, that's something that is somewhat reminiscent to me.
Yep.
So that's what I'm looking at there. And definitely, there's some contention between Preordain and Ancestral Visions. Yeah. I don't play enough blue. I play a little bit, but certainly they are both powerful.
If you were going to pick one of the cantrips, quote-unquote cantrips, to unban, Ponder is too good. And I would just keep Ancestral Vision banned for just the power level concern.
Certainly cascading into it is the best use of it.
Yeah.
And the 4 turns may not be awful, so I could see it happening. They're both cards that I've got my eye on to see potential unbans. Okay. Beltomatic, I think it's less about a power level concern with Stoneforge Mystic as well, and more just that consistency.
It also limits deck building.
True. Consistency becomes a very big key.
Yeah.
So, we shall see. But definitely, you guys are bringing up some excellent points for Ancestral Visions as opposed to Preordain.
Yeah, I just would not want an Ancestral Recall in Modern. And that you don't have to work very, very hard for.
True. As for blue being a bad color in Modern, I largely disagree. I think that basically there are 4 colors that are all pretty close to being extremely powerful. And unfortunately, white is the weakest, but still close.
White is the weakest main board color, but has the best sideboard options.
I think we might actually be close to heading into it right now.
Yep, we're having another matchup, but unfortunately, I have to leave in order to go to work.
Excellent. Have a fantastic day.
Bye.
Say goodbye to Coleman, everybody.
I will be here a week from Sunday.
Exactly.
All right.
Otherwise, we've got Ryan up against Michael. Do you know what Ryan is on?
Huh?
Do you know what Ryan is on?
He's on what?
Do you know what Ryan is on? What Ryan is? I got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
What
it's
are you
okay.
playing? Playing Martin Bridge.
So we are now into round 4. What we're going to be seeing is this: Burn going up against Michael on the right with this Bubble Hulk deck, combo deck going up against Burn. So actually a matchup that we saw earlier, but this time in the hands of Ryan Coverdale, who's on a Mardu Burn as opposed to the other one. So let's see what we can see. I think Bubble Hulk might be slightly favored in this one. It comes down to, can Ryan apply a whole lot of pressure? But otherwise, Lost Coleman, I'll be doing the main commentating, so forgive me if I miss any things. I've just recently acquired a large slew of things to pay attention to. But thank you for joining me tonight. It's an absolute blast having you, and let's head on down to our finals. Alright, and Bermuda Rumbus letting me know that this matchup is hard for Hulk. I can certainly willing to believe you. I can see the amount of pressure that they can put on quickly being a huge plus. So I can definitely see that happening. I think the uninteractivity of... Oh, I forgot to hit save, sorry. Of Michael does provide somewhat of a plus, especially since it's so hard to interact with once it starts going off. Okay. As for Burn is Burn. The red deck will always win. They didn't name that deck for no reason. Okay, so we have got Michael down to 15 with a Serum Visions, and we have got Ryan. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Ian. Could you get Ryan's attention for me? Could you move your graveyard a little bit down so that I can see what's in there? Graveyard just a little bit closer there. Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so we have got 2 lava spikes. Michael down to 12 off of the shock and taking 6 damage from those. Ryan still at 18 after taking 2 damage off of a shock land. And Michael just using Serum Visions to dig at the moment. So far not playing a second land, but likely if he doesn't have one in hand, that is going to be a huge problem. And actually going to discard step, dropping a Protean Hulk, followed by a bolt at the end step. Looks like a fetch, shock, bolt. So, Michael in a very precarious position, only 1 mana. Oh, I'm sorry, Bubble Hulk. Bubble Hulk is a deck based around that Protean Hydra. Let me bring that up for you, and definitely between these games I can elaborate on it much more. But Protean Hulk, a 6/6 for 7, that when it is put into the graveyard from play, you can search for any number of creatures with a total converted mana cost of 6. And actually, we might be seeing this combo going off. So, Footsteps of the Goryo, resolving at the moment. What that allows him to do is bring in that Protean Hulk. At the end of turn, it sacrifices, and he is going to be going for 2 cards. One of them being Body Double. I'm trying to type as fast as I am talking. Body Double comes in, copies the Protean Hulk, as well as getting a Viscera Seer. Dang it. Dang it. There we go. And getting a Viscera Seer. That Viscera Seer allows him to sacrifice the Body Double, which is currently a Protean Hulk, allowing him to get another 2 cards out of his cards with total converted mana cost of 6 from the library to the battlefield. Those other 2 cards will be a Mog Fanatic, being a 1 mana, and has sacrificed to deal 1 damage to the player, and also a Revelark, which, when you sacrifice that to the Viscera Seer as well, grab 2 target creatures, you grab the Body Double and the Mog Fanatic. The Body Double copies the Revelark, the Mog Fanatic comes in, deals 1 damage to the opponent, you sacrifice the now copied Revelark to the Viscera Seer, rinse, or wash, rinse, repeat. There we go. Hopefully that was a good explanation. If you guys have any questions, or if any of that was unclear, please let me know. But right now, going for that Body Double, sacrificing it to the Viscera Seer to scry 1. The Body Double goes to the graveyard, and actually a Searing Blaze in response. So we are doing the search, and we are going to be seeing a scry. So actually, this might be disrupted. Okay, and Fox Surface, welcome back. I think I saw you earlier in the chat, but welcome back. I'm certainly thinking about employing that one idea. And going down to 6, and let's see what we have got here. I think we're going to be able to go for 2 pieces. I think he can fight through this with that Protean Hulk sack to go for more pieces and might be able to reset this combo. Basically ends up going for the Body Double and the Viscera Seer, and then sack it again, copying the Body Double, going for that Mog Fanatic and the Revelark again. So, Destus, that actually sounds really cool, and I'm a little bit curious about what you do with that. So do you end up going for, like, the Viscera Seer, and I'm not sure what 5-drop you would end up going for, probably the Body Double. And then what do you tutor up from there? The Malira and the Kitchen Finks? Because that sounds awesome. Okay, so I think we're still going to end up seeing Michael go off successfully through this combo as long as he has got enough copies of these cards in his library. One notable thing is that Ryan can actually bolt this Viscera Seer, and if he... Okay, so he does have another copy in hand. Very unfortunate there. So you go for the Seer, and then you do the Malira and the Kitchen Finks. So you gain the infinite life, go for the Scries, and then you end up getting... Okay. I can totally get behind that, and also those cards are certainly more useful when you draw them. I guess my only concern at that point becomes the mana base, because at that point your mana base becomes a lot more green as opposed to... So you have black-green, possibly blue for Body Double. So that is pretty cool. I can get behind that. Oh, and actually, Malira and Persist Goblins, because it is 4 mana, so that's 4 and 2 mana. You don't even have to do the Infinite Life. Very cool. Very cool. Destus, that sounds like a sweet list. Okay, so Michael taking the game 1 win, fighting through that removal. Unfortunately, that combo, very resilient to removal because it operates almost entirely at instant speed and has a decent amount of redundancy. Otherwise, getting ready for game 2. In the meantime, it looks like some of you have joined. Thank you to everybody who is doing that. It is an absolute blast interacting with you guys. My name's TJ, stream from Geek Fortress in Snohomish, Washington. Currently watching our finals. Both of these players 3-0, Bubble Hulk versus Mardu Burn. Otherwise, please feel free to join us for other streams. We do this on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays consistently. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, Fridays at 7:30. That is Legacy instead. And Saturdays at 6 o'clock. These are all Pacific time, so it is currently 8:54 where I am. Okay, so to tie, that was actually turn 3. He spent a turn to keep 8 cards in hand and then discard. For the black in the burn deck, it is a lot of sideboard cards as well. And then also, I think he actually runs Tasker sometimes. Why is it called Bubble Hulk? I honestly forget why it's called Bubble Hulk. But I remember it was a reference to something. But I actually don't remember. So I might just do Protein Hulk. Oh, that's it. It's just the Bubble Hulk combo. And I'm gonna just make it add the word combo. So, basically the deck with 3 mana goes for a Footsteps of the Goryo, allows you to reanimate and then sacrifice at the end of the turn that Protein Hulk, which you get into your graveyard. And then from there you are able to combo. You get 2 creatures with total converted mana cost of 6. You go for a Body Double and a Viscera Seer. That Body Double copies the Protein Hulk. You sack it with the Viscera Seer, do it again, and go for the Revelark and the Mog Fanatic, which assembles your full combo to deal infinite damage. So, just to give you guys a picture, let me go ahead and toss up that Protein Hulk so that you guys can see it. So hopefully I explained that combo well. I was definitely trying to do it on a timeline, so if I missed anything, please let me know. But yeah, Michael doing an excellent job of piloting this deck. Oh, I'm sorry. It is any number of creatures. I'm just so used to saying 2 because that is what the deck does. But Tommy Gun is correct. It is any number of creatures with total converted mana cost of 6. So if needed, you can go for a wider variety of cards. So, heading into game 2, Ryan going to be on the play. And hopefully we can see a little bit faster clock from Burn. Not being able to do a turn 1 creature there definitely slowed it down a little bit. But Mardu Burn definitely hoping to have some kind of sideboard interaction that can handle the graveyard. Otherwise he will be in trouble. Destus, that sounds like a very cool deck. I am a big fan, and that sounds like a... If possible, if you're, Destus, if you're willing to, if you could send a list, if you have one, to my Twitter, right above my head, at RedBaronMTG, that would be very cool, because I would love to show it to that player, and I'm sure he would enjoy it, and might get a kick out of trying out that combo. So, the only issue at that point becomes, I guess, Torpor Orb is an issue, when the rest of the deck relies on sack engines, but I am honestly not sure if that is a big enough consideration. A lot of Torpor Orbs starting to get cut back because Twin is out, but certainly some heading back in because of the Eldrazi deck, so never know. But it's certainly worth testing. I like that a lot. Okay. So, Michael appears to be going down to 6. Mardu Burn liking its opening 7. Elendria, Hulk definitely has trouble with those cards. The Graveyard Hate is very powerful against it. Often they'll do some preemptive sideboarding to prevent it. And 2 ley lines out of the sideboard coming in. We do have a creature, so if he kept that hand purely because it had those, gonna be unfortunate, but those ley lines gonna be a huge problem for Burn. Okay. So, those ley lines, huge. Peter's correct. Earlier tonight, he was able to fight through a cage by bouncing it, or by bouncing a Spellskite and then using a Wear and Tear on the cage itself. So certainly can fight through the hate, but becomes problematic. Oh, dang it. Whoops. Sorry about that. So, Leyline of Sanctity, currently 2 copies of it on the battlefield. Very unfortunate for Ryan, who I believe has some answers. Likely brought in some Destructive Revelry preemptively, especially if he knew that those were in this deck. But so far, not a whole lot of play from Michael. Still needs to find a way. Has a makeshift mannequin in hand, one of the cards. That is a little bit interesting. Bringing it up for you guys. That is the makeshift mannequin. What it does is it allows you to bring back that... it's basically usually run of as a 2-of, and it acts as redundant copies of Footsteps of the Goryo, and it also lets the creature be resilient to Path to Exile. So, a Rift Bolt suspended after some swings with those Monastery Swiftspears. Ryan's still presenting a very good clock. If Michael can't actually put together anything, this is pretty impressive. And he will have to deal 3 damage to himself with that Rift Bolt, but when that continues to deal a lot of damage, that's really impressive. So, a Faithless Looting from Michael, really looking for anything. Okay. Discarding 2 cards. So far picking 1. Has 1 Wear and Tear and a bunch of lands. Man. Nothing great happening for Michael here, who is actually under a significant amount of pressure, even with 2 Leylands out against this deck. So, happens to... Man. Hitting himself, going down to 11 to swing for 4. This is actually just super cool. And it looks like an Eidolon of the Great Revel. Possibly a Skullcrack, it looked like, a Wear and Tear. And I'm not sure what else I am seeing in that hand. There's 1 card that I'm unsure of at the moment. Otherwise, Michael, I think, has 2 lands and a makeshift mannequin. So, pretty unfortunate case. Both players in a bit of a tight spot, but certainly Ryan providing a pretty solid clock. So a swing for 4, and actually going to give one of them double strikes. That's going to be a swing for 9. So giving one of them, that is a very, very cool play. Michael, down to 2, has a single turn, and that fantastic play by Ryan with that Boros Charm. And even through 2 Leylines, we might actually see Burn take the win, which is always so cool. Potatoes versus Potatoes. I'm not sure if I've interacted with you in the chat before, but it doesn't seem super familiar. Thank you for joining. I am more than happy to have you, and if you ever do have any questions or comments, please let me know. Alright, so... a Wear and Tear on one of those Leylines gets the Prowess trigger. That's all that he needs. Able to get 2 damage in. A win for Burn through 2 Leylines. Incredible. And one of those big things is as slowly crashing notes. One of those Leylines, very tricky card, and one of the problems with Modern having so many of those really impactful sideboard cards is that players will often keep a very less than optimal hand because it has some of those. So Michael kept a hand that was really not what he wanted because it had those 2 Leylands. So, really, really unfortunate, but Michael kept a pretty sketchy hand because it had those ley lines. The foil Ajani continuing to nail the puns. Don't worry, you are a front runner for that pun award. Sonori the Priest, very much true. I am personally not a big fan of having Nicodles in burn decks, but being able to fight through Leyline is probably one of the most convincing arguments I've seen for running it, because it is able to get around that Leyline or at least provide a creature base. Leyline's still extremely powerful against it. Personally, I am not a huge fan, but there's an argument to be made for it, certainly, and that is a large piece of it. Okay, but talking about Modern being all about the sideboard and opening hand, I think correct play certainly does factor in, but I think more than any other format, sideboarding and opening and mulligan decisions are a huge part of Modern. As for Nicodle, I think Nicodle's a sweet card. Personally, I don't like it in burn. I enjoy all of my cards to deal damage as soon as they hit the battlefield or the stack, or I guess the resolve off of the stack. But that is my personal preference. I certainly understand the arguments for Nicodle. I am just a little bit of a purist when it comes to burn. I think is probably the best way to describe my feelings for it, because while it may not be the best option, it is certainly my favorite option. Okay. So, Michael going to be on the play gives him a very significant advantage against Ryan in this one, because if he wants to go off, he's ideally going to be trying to go off turn 3, and that means that it will be Ryan's turn 4. Theoretically, this combo deck can go off turn 2 through some Simian Spirit Guides, things like that, but it's pretty unlikely, but it is possible. But I think at this point, Michael being on the play does give him a pretty significant advantage. Ryan is going to need to have some sort of hate card or present a very fast clock for Michael to not get what he wants. And yeah, Ryan is very much going to have to be the aggressor in this one and play some pretty impactful cards. Okay. So both players getting to take a look at their opening 7. And let's see if we can get a look at some of them. I see at least Riftbolt, some lands, a Boros Charm, and what appears to be a Gurmag Angler in this deck. Potatoes versus Potatoes. I'm going to assume that that is the way that you pronounce your name. Welcome to Magic. We are certainly happy to have you, and if you ever do have any questions, please feel free to ask, because that's the best way to learn, is by asking those questions and by getting those answers. Okay. Ty certainly make a reasonable point for calling Nicodle burn decks into just a zoo, but while I like zoo and I like burn, personally, I like my zoo and burn decks separate. The hybrid decks certainly have been putting up some excellent numbers. I'm not going to argue with it being a good deck as well. So we have a Footsteps of the Goryo, a Protean Hulk, Sleight of Hand, Is It Charm, Makeshift Mannequin, and only one land. I believe only one land. That is a very, very good hand for Michael, who can theoretically go off turn 3 as long as he hits those land drops, and this Sleight of Hand is going to be pretty significant for that. And I think he actually did not hit a land. Came across a Serum Visions, really hoping to draw land next turn. Ryan's hand looks to be basically have a pretty solid distribution of burn spells and land, so that's going to be excellent. Okay. This version does not have Summoning Trap. And getting another Serum Visions off of that top deck, drawing, I think, a non-land, and scrying one land to the top, still going to get a second land, unable to cast the Is It Charm with what he's going to have. So Michael keeping a risky hand that had a huge potential to pay off and getting punished for it right now. Grim Lavamancer from Ryan. And 2 Rift Bolts suspended and a swing for 1. So, about to take 6 damage, B at 11 there. Hitting a land off of that and scrying that, so now has 2 turns to go off with this combo. Is going to be able to, actually still needs to discard it, so yeah. Michael, next turn, hoping to have enough mana to cast that Is It Charm to put the creature into the graveyard, and then after that, go for the win with that playing the Swamp and then the Footsteps of the Goryo. But with Michael already at 11 and Ryan having another 2 turns to interact, Michael is in trouble. So, Shocking going down to 15. I see a Monastery Swift Spear and a Shard Volley and a Boros Charm. So that is 7 damage just in burn spells currently. I think probably a Boros Charm going to deal 4 and possibly swing for another 3 damage there. So that is 7 damage. And if Ryan does not produce, basically has the Shard Volley, just needs to have any other burn spell or be able to attack, and he'll have the kill next turn. And very likely attacking is going to be an option. So Ryan presenting a kill next turn, and Michael in a huge amount of trouble. So Kraken going down to 3, a very precarious position to be with that fetch land. And now basically if he does not win on this next turn, which is extremely, extremely unlikely, I think almost impossible, Ryan is going to take the win and win this finals match. As for that Grim Lavamancer being a 1-mana 1/1, at least it looks sweet. Alright. So, Grim Lavamancer currently not doing a whole lot, but hanging out on that battlefield, acting as a presence, and certainly providing a lot of reach. So if for some reason they... it's pretty much, yeah, Tommy Gunn is correct in which you'd have to really... Is It Charm? You'd have to draw Simian Spirit Guide for your turn, draw 2 Simian Spirit Guides off of your Is It Charm, and that is about the only way that you'd be able to go off this turn. And seeing that he did not draw it for that one, I don't think that that is an option in this game, and we will be seeing Ryan take the win. Okay. So, looking to draw. Do we have a backup match? We should have one. It kind of depends on when people finish, but certainly we are prepared to get another matchup there. We should be having another one. And actually, yes, we do have a backup match. So if he gets 2 Simian Spirit Guides right now, then he has the potential to win. So that is the only place to be. Need to have 2 of those right on top of that library. So, otherwise, I think he might be just looking at some other possible lines of play, but I think that's his only out. Being at 3 mana, he doesn't have any options. Really needs to just cast that Is It Charm, go for broke, and either win or lose. Because going, you know, against a burn deck, assuming that they may not have a burn spell in hand, is a dangerous place to be. So if you're going to try and take down some creatures with that Is It Charm, you're not going to be overly successful. But yes, we do have a backup match ready. So, in Is It Charm being cast, probably going to be going for the loot ability of it. The only thing is maybe going for the Monastery Swift Spear to try and buy a turn, but I do not think that that is the correct play. I think at this point your options are so slim that you really just have to go for it. But nonetheless, the odds of Michael winning this round are becoming increasingly unlikely. Otherwise, I'm not entirely sure what the delay is, to be honest with all of you. So we shall see, and I'm expecting to see him draw 2 cards off of the top. And actually going for the Grim Lavamancer. Interesting choice with that Is It Charm. Is It Charm, a versatile spell, and shows the kill spell. Didn't have it either way. Super unfortunate there. Ryan taking the win in 2, and let's get that back up match. All right. Excellent. So, I'm going to bring it up to me while we are getting that up for the new feature match. We're just going to do a quick swap out, and in the meantime, I will tell you all kinds of fun things. So, thank you for joining me. My name is TJ. Looks like some of you have joined us. We are currently in the middle of round 4 of 4 here tonight. If the stream is freezing, let me know. Someone is saying that it is. But thank you for joining. We should be able to get another match on there. Maybe 2, depending on how quickly this next one goes. So let's take a quick look.
Well, no, because you had to start.
Can you ask Dylan? I think he has a backup match for me to move over.
Dylan, you have backup?
Okay, so we should be getting that up shortly. For those of you who have just joined, thank you. We're streaming out of Geek Fortress in Snohomish, Washington. We do this stream 3 times a week. Modern on Wednesdays and Saturdays, 7 o'clock and 6 o'clock respectively. And on Fridays at 7:30 we have Legacy. So please feel free to join me for more of those. If you want to hit that follow button, I'm a huge fan of that. Especially because if, for, you know, somehow 30 of you do, that puts me up to like 700 followers, which would be a pretty big milestone for me. And I would certainly love to see this continue growing into something that is a thing, I guess. Really, it's just something that is always exciting for me, and the more it continues to go, the more fun I have with it. Like, how long is a piece of string? The piece of string is only as long as you can pull it for. And as always, if you guys do want to continue showing up for the stream, I'll let you know again once we do get to 500 viewers all at the same time. Certainly a mark that we are still shy of. I think we most topped out at somewhere close to 300. But if we do ever get to 500 at the same time, we have 2 things that will happen. One is that we have a revised starter pack, which we will be opening. And then also, I said it once, and unfortunately people have reminded me, I will eat a Tybalt in some delicious Alfredo sauce. Though that one I will not be doing on stream. Most likely I'll toss it either up onto Imager and Reddit or onto YouTube. And take a quick look, see what we have got. Are they just going and I don't know what they're playing?
Huh?
What are you guys playing?
I'm playing Dredgevine.
Oh, are you?
Dredgevine versus Blue White Titan.
Thank you. For the person asking if there was a Dredgevine player, yes, we actually have got a Dredgevine deck here. So, let's go ahead and head on down. I am not sure what game they are on, but let's go watch Blue White Titan Control go up against Dredgevine. In the hands of Ian Hathaway. Alright, see you down there. Okay, so let me find out. What game are you guys on? Who got the first one? Thank you. Excellent. So this is game 2. Ian taking game 1. Both players at 20. We have a mortar pod for Ian, which is a living weapon. Certainly an interesting deck. Actually, both of these are interesting decks, I suppose. So how this one will be trying to operate is to use a Myria. Eventually you go way into the late game and you can keep bringing back a Sun Titan to recur things like a Mortar Pod, which can just deal 1 damage over time, and you can equip that to your various creatures that you want to bring back with the Sun Titan. So if you equip it onto your Wall of Omens, at the end step you can sacrifice the creature, then bring it back with a Sun Titan or with that Myria. So that is how that deck will operate. Dredgevine, trying to use the graveyard, currently has a Gravecrawler in play, and going to be trying to cheat some creatures out of that graveyard into play. Most notably, Vengevine, which we are about to see. I think are 2 Vengevines in hand. Vengevine, a card that says that when you cast your second creature spell this turn, you can put them from your graveyard into play. I will bring those up onto the... Dang it. I'm just gonna stop that for a moment, find it, and then show it to you guys, if that's cool with you. Alright, so a Wall of Omens and that Mortar Pod. Both players still at some pretty healthy life totals. Vengevine, the name of the card. This is the namesake of the deck. Extremely powerful card, a 4/3 with haste for 4. But whenever you cast the second creature spell of a turn, you can return it from the graveyard to the battlefield and then start swinging with it. Alright, so that Wall of Omens being a pretty solid deterrent for that Gravecrawler. Doesn't give him a whole lot of incentive to swing into it. Otherwise, a Hallowed Fountain, an Emeria, and a Plains in the battlefield for Ian. And a Golgari Grave Troll getting dredged. That allows him to put 6 cards into his graveyard, among them Ale from the Loam. I was not able to see all of them, however. Alright, so Emeria the Skyrune, currently the card that is showing up. This is the one that basically trying to get into that late game and have all of those planes to try and take advantage of and start recurring things. So both of these cards actually, or both of these decks actually trying to recur their graveyards a decent amount. And we are going to be getting some dredging off of a Faithless Looting, and going to dredge 6, and then going to be discarding some cards, either the Golgari Grave Troll and a Vengevine, or possibly both Vengevines. Now that he has another Golgari Grave Troll in there, I'm expecting both Vengevines to hit that graveyard. Okay. So, looks like mana actually being an issue for both decks. Ian currently stuck on 3 and discarding a card, it seems like. So, going to be dredging with that Golgari Grave Troll after an untap. A lot of cards in this graveyard for Tyrell currently. Alright. Looks to be a pretty full graveyard. I think I see a Nod to the Bone in there, which is interesting. But flashing back that Faithless Looting, going to be dredging some more for those draw triggers. Doesn't going for that Golgari Grave Troll to flip another 6 cards into that graveyard. Gurmag Angler, Lotleth Troll, another Vengevine, Murderous Cut, a Forest. And drawing a Lotleth Troll, and as they move to the discard step, possibly going to be doing a Vengevine and maybe that a Golgari Grave Troll or that Life in the Loam. Okay. Perhaps we might want to leave these puns alone if they're going to continue in such a fashion. So still a lot of trouble from Ian. Still not getting a lot of progress. Not hitting land and just having to discard cards. So a very slow start from this blue-white Titan control, and possibly going to be seeing Tyrell take this game 2 and moving into a game 3. Alright, so Gravecrawler coming into play. That is the second creature for the turn, and we have got a slew of Vengevines coming into play. 3 of them at least. Is there actually a 4th one in? Okay, so no 4th one. 3 Vengevines coming in. Those 4 3s with haste. Going to be knocking right on Ian's door. And is that a hibernation? That is a hibernation. Oh my goodness. So a hibernation returning each of those cards to the hand. Let me see if I can find the right set for it. So hibernation, 3 mana instant, returning all of those green permanents to their owner's hands. Tyrell getting a handful of those Vengevines now. That is fantastic. Still having some trouble. We do have a Detention Sphere out for Ian. Looks like not casting it. Would have been pretty interesting to see the Detention Sphere take down both of those Gravecrawlers as well. Maybe saving it to take down some of those Vengevines. And eventually, you know, as much as it is funny to even say that it's possibly a concern, eventually that graveyard is going to get pretty small. As for the last name, unfortunately I don't have his last name. As soon as I get it, I will update it. My apologies on that one. Okay. So a Gravecrawler in play. going to be looking to play that Lotleth Troll, another Gravecrawler, and unfortunately only one of those... Okay, discarding all of those cards, and 4 Vengevines about to come into play. A huge clock against that. So a swing for 14, possibly... Oh, actually, a swing for the full 20. We're going to give him a title instead. Too much of a title. Too much of a title there. How about this one? Still too much. Oh, okay, and I do have a last name. So, we are going to update that one. So a pretty significant swing. Ian taking a total of 10 damage after blocking a Vengevine, and also using that Mortar Pod to get a block as well. Dredgelord would have been fantastic. I'm sorry that I did not use that one. And is that a Worm Harvest in the graveyard? I think there's a Worm Harvest in the... Oh, maybe not a Worm Harvest. I'm not quite sure what else that would be, though. But, nonetheless... Okay. So Ian now getting up to his 4th land appears to have a Black Splash in this deck, which is something that I haven't seen before. And a Supreme Verdict. Okay, so we get a Path to Exile here on that Lotleth Troll, which does have a Regenerate ability. So that is no longer on the field, and looks to be passing the turn and Detention Sphere on those Vengevines. So, Ian buying himself some time. A Gurmag Angler, the clock that is in Tyrell's hand. Ian does have a board wipe that he could use eventually, but now it is just a matter of Ian trying to stabilize at this 8 life. And I'm assuming that that Rotting Rats is you letting me know what that card was. Thank you. Rotting Rats being that card that we did see in the graveyard with Unearth to make each player discard a card. And a Supreme Verdict wiping the board of that Gurmag Angler and those 2 Gravecrawlers. Currently no zombie on the battlefield. Hitting a land and a Golgari Grave Troll. Wow. So Ian took a while to do it, but finally getting to a point. Tyrell stuck with just a Golgari Grave Troll in hand, which does cost 5 mana. So, going down to 19, first time that he's taken any damage as of yet, and I guess if he gets to 5 mana, he'll be able to do that Golgari Grave Troll. My goodness. Okay. Interesting. So Rotting Rats as a zombie allows him to actually unearth it and then recast those Gravecrawlers. So that is a pretty interesting thing. And ends up fetching and not finding. Wow. So a Mortar Pod getting bounced by a Flicker Wisp. And at this point, decking becomes a very major concern. But we do have a Gravecrawler in play, so might see him try to cast those other ones as well. But getting to a pretty precarious position, Ian starting to really hit those triggers. And using that Germ Token to take down the Gravecrawler. So, another land, getting up to 4 lands, still a Golgari Grave Troll, and Tyrell in a very unfortunate place. Ian all the way down to 4, and managing to start stabilizing with this Flicker Wisp, bringing a lot of damage, 3 per turn. Really, impressive showing from blue-white control if it is able to pull this win out. Not out of the woods yet. Out of the... Oh, see, and it's Tyrell Woods. Ooh, nailed that one. This guy's got jokes. And a Lotleth Troll, probably going to end up discarding that Golgari Grave Troll to it. Not going to be a fantastic blocker, but it is going to present enough of a clock that he can also regenerate it and possibly attempt attacking into that. So, okay. Just needs an Inverter of Truth. That would be fantastic. As for this Godless Shrine, I am still unsure of what it is, but that Rotting Rat's coming out with the flashback. But so far, nothing too effective yet. So Ian at 4 life plays a Sun Titan. Gonna start bringing back some other things, possibly going for the current things that are in there. I mean, he does have a Wall of Omens that he could bring back, possibly... Oh, and a Pack Rat. Whoa! For those of you wondering why there is some black mana in this deck, it is because of Pack Rat, which is so cool. It acts as a discard outlet for your Sun Titan and your Myriad to start bringing things out of your hand. And, you know, if you can pay that extra, it gives you a mana sink at the late game. That is so, so very cool. I am very impressed by this Pack Rat. So, a Faithless Looting from Tyrell. Going to be discarding 2 cards. Doesn't look like going for the Dredge. And at a very, very, very major threat of just decking himself. Just the Abrupt Decay left in the library. And Ian taking the win. Wow. Is this old standard? That was fantastic. Alright, and let's see if we can get another match up. So, stick with me. Don't take off yet. It is only 5 minutes, so I doubt that we can get another matchup. But, if we can get another one, we will, though it is unlikely. So, I'll see you in the booth in just a moment. Alright, so I will change my mind if they inform me that we do have one more match. But thank you to those of you who have joined me and who are taking off, because that will be the end of our matches. But in the meantime, if any of you do want me to stick around, if you happen to have any questions for me, I'm always happy to answer them, whether they are Magic related, specifically Modern related. I can at least offer my opinions and I guess whatever insight that I have. Or just any questions in general. It's always fun for me to just hang out, talk with you guys a bit. Another thing is, now is an excellent time for feedback now that it's over. And also, if there's any just talking points that you want me to go over, let me know. Because I'm more than happy to interact with you guys, provide whatever information that I can and am able to. So, if you do have anything, just let me know. Put @GeekFortress in any questions, comments that you have. Other things... if you do want me, a game that we used to play, and I'm certainly down to try again, is if you guys want me to answer the question in 6 words exactly, just put 6 words or in 6 words along with your question, and I will do my best to do that. What is, for deck size? 60 cards, absolutely. Do you sell your half-complete Eldrazi deck? Got Temples and Eyes and all the creatures? Honestly, probably not. You've at least got until April, and prices aren't going to be going down before then. If you think that you can actually get some good play in with that deck before April, which is the earliest that we might see a banning, then I would certainly do it, because that deck is very sweet, and it's a whole lot of fun to watch. So, I like it, and if that's the deck that you would enjoy playing, you've already got the expensive pieces, and the parts that you do buy at this point are not going to be the ones that end up losing value. It'll be the pieces that you already have. Okay. The foil Ajani, you do get the pun trophy, but it is with an asterisk because they started to fall apart at the end a little bit. So I'll give you a 7 out of 10 for solid punting at the beginning, losing a bit of your stride at the end, and then having a couple solid ones at the very end. So, all things considered, you do get the pun trophy. As for, yeah, it basically is 8 soul lands in the deck. That is the biggest concern with it as it currently sits. As far as things go, I'm still unsure as to whether or not it is going to be fully oppressive, and I'm really excited to see the results from these giant GPs, the 3 of them that are coming. Those GPs are going to offer us a lot of insight into the ability for them to fight through a variety of rounds without knowing the metagame as well. And also there's going to be just, you know, if there are a ton of pilots and they make it through that, then that's going to be a huge amount of information. If it continues to be oppressive, then that will be the time to start investigating it. But our big winner of the night, Mardu Burn, 4-0 with Burn. If you do want to join us for more streams, be sure to hit that follow button. Usually we are able to get 5 rounds of Modern. Tonight a little bit slower than I'm used to. I suspect that the game day cut into that. I know that there were at least several Modern players that I saw when I arrived here to set up for this stream, that there were a lot of our Modern players playing in the standard great game day. So hopefully next Wednesday and Saturday we should be having a lot more. Do I think that Esper control or mid-range is viable? Not knowing the entire build, I think the biggest issue with Esper is that it lacks a lot of reach. And so if you can find a way to solve that issue, I think that the deck does have some potential. The plethora of board wipes and 1-for-1 removal along with card selection certainly makes it good, but picking out what you want to have as actually a threat, because you do need to have at least some sort of proactive game plan if you come across that situation in which you need to make those actions. So if you either are going for maybe Tasigur and using some Thought Scours to really accelerate a potential Tasigur, and also just any way to develop some sort of reach across the board, whether that come in the form of flying or possibly Celestial Colonnades. Not entirely sure on that one, but certainly I do think that Esper has some potential. Maybe not in the Tier 1 realm, but it can certainly do well at local events, which is kind of, I mean, as much as I really love competing, those local events are pretty much the lifeblood of Modern, and it's where we get to see so many different things. I mean, tonight we got to see Black-White Life Gain, we also had Burn Affinity, the Bubble Hulk combo, all kinds of sweet decks. We usually do have a good variety of Tier 1 decks, and also a solid set of the Tier 2 decks, in addition to having a decent amount of these brews. Do I think that Kiki Cord or Blue Moon are viable? Can they beat the Eldrazi? And can they beat non-Eldrazi? I think so. I think the fact that the Kiki Cord does have that kind of instant win button gives it a decent advantage against a good amount of the field. The biggest issue with Kiki Cord to me is that the playing the deck is very difficult and takes a lot of practice. It's not one that you can just pick up as a meta choice and play through. You need to know the variations of the deck all pretty well. So I do really enjoy Kiki Cord against the Eldrazi deck and the rest of the field. Play skill is very much dependent on the pilot, however. As for Blue Moon, I think that Blue Moon is also an excellent place. It's solid against some number of the aggro decks, has a decent control shell, and is fairly tunable to your meta. So if you do have a meta that tends to have a lot of greedy mana bases, can be absolutely phenomenal for that. And it's also just a fun deck to play, and you get to play with some sweet cards. So is Blue Moon super viable? I'm not sure if it's viable to the point of being the kind that you can walk in and, you know, consistently take down a meta. But as far as being a really fun deck that has some great staples that you can build the deck, have fun playing it, and as you want to go into some other blue-red variant, that certainly is great for that, and it'll get you some staples. When does Shadows over Innistrad come out? You know, I am honestly not entirely sure. I do know that it is in April, however, because that is when the next ban list announcement would be. Okay. Do I say potato or potato? I say potato. Yeah, I guess personal preference. I don't really know if it's I'm not really sure if there is a correct one, to be honest. But I say potato. You boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, and I'm a huge fan of potatoes. Slowly Crashing bringing up a great point. Burn, not a fantastic. But it is able to handle a good amount of the other aggro decks. Also for harm, absolutely I do think that unbans are coming down the pipeline. Counterspell, interestingly enough, not banned in Modern. Just simply not printed in a Modern legal set. But I do think that some unbans are coming down the pipeline, whether they be in the form of probably some of those blue draw spells, or really one of them, and maybe a Sword of the Meek. My biggest concern with Sword of the Meek was brought up by Aaron Forsyth after this last one, when he noted that Sword of the Meek could end up slotting really well into Lantern Control, and I haven't tested it enough to know if it's true or not. So maybe, but I do think Ancestral Visions could make a comeback, and I'd like to see some unbans of some form or another. And I would like for bans to not be required, but if they are, then I'm always, you know, open to seeing them happen. But I do think the bans should be a last resort, and we should be looking into these metas with the idea of trying to make it conquer those decks. Stoneforge Mystic, not super likely in my opinion, just because of the consistency and the fact that it makes deck building very consistent, and they play out the same way, similar to how Pod was banned. So I really doubt that is going to be happening. And Bloodbraid Elf, extremely powerful. I think that it could possibly get unbanned one day. I don't think that that time is now. Bloodbraid Elf, extremely good, especially with Jund being one of the top 5 decks at the moment. Extremely good, especially with the printing of Kolaghan's Command. So the card is extremely good. Bloodbraid Elf is just an absolute value house, and with Jund already having recovered from whatever bans it has to often be in the top 3, currently with Eldrazi at kind of the top 5 as it continues to adapt, I just don't think that Bloodbraid Elf is probably the right unban at the moment. Maybe one day though. But certainly got some value out of Kolaghan's Command, and I would love to see Bloodbraid Elf cascade into a Kolaghan's Command, but certainly not as a modern legal play. Yeah, that's my current opinions. I'd like to see nothing banned as it currently stands, though down the line, possibly Eye of Ugin. I think that Tron would recover pretty well from an Eye ban, whether that be by using the Crucible of the Spirit Dragon, the one that when you cast a 7-drop or higher you're able to tutor for another one, or through using possibly the one, man, I don't know these cards because they're only in Standard really, but the one that allows you to tutor up an Eldrazi and makes the next one that you cast free. So they could probably slot in one of those over it. I think Sanctum of Ugin, thank you, Sonori the Priest. I think that Sanctum of Ugin would be probably an okay slot in over the Eye of Ugin for Tron, and the deck would still function pretty well, losing some of its super powerful late game, which might enable some control decks to make more appearances. So I think that will still, if there's going to be bannings, I think Eye of Ugin might be the one. I'm not convinced that that is the right choice yet, but it's certainly the one that seems most reasonable to me. To the foil, Ajani, what is Bloodbraid Elf? That is... and Conduit, man, you guys are absolutely fantastic. But Bloodbraid Elf being, I'll just bring that up. But it is a card. It is a 4-mana hasty card with Cascade. All right, so that should show up in the chat for you guys. But to those of you sticking around, thank you so much. I mean, it looks like there are just a little bit over 50 of you sticking around just to talk about Modern with me, and that is just the coolest thing. I am constantly in awe at the support of this community and how great that this can go. And this is always so much more than I expected it to be already. So, thank you so much to all of you, and keep an eye out. I'm still looking at some best ways to kind of get the word out of this stream. better. And I think one of them that I recently started doing, and if you guys want to toss out your opinions on this, please do. But I didn't want to kind of flood Reddit threads with just the stream every time we do it, so I've started doing just or I guess I've done it once, and I'm going to start posting out a monthly stream schedule for it, so that each, at the beginning of each month, I'll make a Reddit post onto, Modern Magic and Magic TCG, saying, hey, we've got this super fun stream, at least I think it is, and please come join us. But other than that, if you guys have some ideas of ways that I can, spread the word of this, because it's such a blast to do, and I'd like to see it continue to grow. And of course, I'm not gonna ask you guys to, but if you do want to, tell your friends, and tell some groups that you are in, then I would certainly appreciate it. And hopefully I am putting out a product that is worth talking well about. It's just something that I'm really trying to improve it over time, and if there are ways that I can do that, please do let me know. Please don't hesitate, because those updates, while I am currently operating on very much a budget of $0 and running in the red, it's something that I just love to continue doing and improve and make it something that is a product that people are excited to see, because that is just so cool for me. So, what are the worst mechanics of all time? Probably Storm, Dredge being probably... I think Storm and Dredge are probably, and Affinity are probably my big three keywords of all time. Cascade and Delve, certainly extremely powerful. I'm just not sure if they can compete with Dredge, Affinity, or Storm. All three of those mechanics being absurdly powerful. Though, I think you could make an argument over one of those over Affinity. Where is banding at? Banding is at the, man, banding is nowhere. Banding is nowhere, and unfortunately not going anywhere. Horsemanship is just a glorified flying with a touch of unblockable. It's like Shadow. It's really weird. Horsemanship was odd. It was only from Portal 3 Kingdoms, and I think it was largely unneeded. Cascade over Dredge, I really disagree with Dredge being less broken than Cascade. But I think that's something that is much more noticeable in Legacy and Vintage than it is in Modern. Mostly because, yeah. I'm sorry. I apologize to all the cards with horsemanship. Though, to be honest, horses are weird. They're not my thing. Pretty much. Pretty much. Okay. My guess is that sliver that you were looking at, that had horsemanship. Oh, okay. Tutor, also a very good mechanic. Man, now we're just talking about mechanics. Personally, my favorite mechanic is 3 damage to target creature or player. Preferably on a card that only costs 1 mana. But that's just me. Also a big fan of Affinity, even though I don't even run some in my Affinity deck. So... Oh, was it the one that was only in Future Sight and it prevents 1 damage that would be dealt to them? Oh man, I can remember that sliver. It's one of the most unusual ones, and what it does is it gives them an ability that has only been printed on that one from Future Sight. But it's super weird, and I'm going to try and find out what it is. But if you guys happen to know it better than me, I'm just currently looking through all the cards that say Sliver. Lymph Sliver. It gives them Absorb. Absorb 1. If a source will deal damage, prevent 1 of that damage. It is ridiculous. Doro, I will be the guinea pig of a brand new command. Also, to Trilmer, my name is TJ, not Justin, and I'm not sure if you think that I am Justin. Not entirely sure, but nonetheless, not entirely sure what is happening with that command, but should be fun. Nonetheless, thank you for... Oh, that is super cool. This is super... Tromer, nonetheless, unfortunately showing up at the end of the chat, but thank you. BTB, we do not have a sub button yet, and unfortunately that is because we have not started averaging over 500 per view, which is why I have set this as sort of a target for myself. Oh, it was flanking? Okay, my bad. But I've kind of set that target of hitting 500 people because if we can start averaging 500 per stream and doing at least 3 per week, then that means that I can get a subscribe button. But other than that, one of the things that we are looking at doing is adding a donate button. I certainly don't really expect people to do it, but at least puts that option out there and could possibly give us an ability to run at least slightly less in the red and maybe get some sweet new equipment. So that's something that is also coming down the pipeline. But Peter, as earlier, thank you for providing me with that idea. The putting up the records of the players is something that I will put a higher priority on. And also just that tournament info is something that I've talked about, but currently pretty difficult to do. Still working on that. Justin is not the owner of the shop. Dylan is the owner of the shop. Ooh, Grace is a pretty sweet one, too. Okay. What resolution are the emotes at? I have no idea what that means. If that is a setting that I have, then I do not know what it is. So, I unfortunately don't have the answer to that. But Doro, those are some pretty sweet commands. I appreciate it very much. In the meantime, unless you guys have got some more, Justin does some of the hosting with me. Hasn't done it in a little bit. He's been pretty busy with work, but I should be getting him back in the booth shortly as one of our co-hosts. But I am the main co-host, or the main host, and then I tend to get a variety of co-hosts in here. So, Slowly Crashing, still an excellent one. So excited to have him. Also, don't forget, next Sunday, a week and a day from now, starting at noon Pacific time, come join us. It is going to be a full, long day of a Modern Grand Prix trial. Stick with us. It is going to be an absolute blast. I am excited to do, at least 5 rounds, very likely, and then a top 8. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. I'm going to stock up on some water bottles and just have myself a blast of a day. But otherwise, if you guys do have any other questions, any other comments, or any other feedback, just toss it into that chat and let me know, because if I don't see anything in the next little bit, then I'll probably just call it a night, and that is okay too. Thank you for saying that I am the reason that you're following. I mentioned earlier that being moderately entertaining is really like the benchmark that I'm going for. All right. Oh, okay. I guess they oh, when is the Modern event? It will be noon on the 21st of February. Noon Pacific time. So it is currently 9:50 where I am. So wherever it is, make those adjustments accordingly, but starting at noon Pacific time on the 21st, and it is going to be an absolute blast. I'm excited. So, I honestly don't know what the size of them are. They seem average sized to me. I haven't at least changed any settings. I'm not sure if they show up differently for you. So, should be a lot of fun, and also, I've gotten requests for it in the past. I will keep you all updated on when we know when the next Modern No Ban List event will be. And also, I think we might be adding a very big Legacy event down the in a little bit. Might be trying to do a very big high buy-in Legacy event on a Sunday. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a Randy Bueller, 10 being LSV, I'm still... Actually, that's a huge compliment. Thank you so much. That's awesome. I mean, I'm certainly not sure what I did to earn that, but thank you so much, and I'm certainly happy that I can provide that. And honestly, I would be down to doing this commentating for the future in a lot of ways. So I'd love to do this, and if I can eventually find a way to where this is not at least presents a mild income to at least break even on stuff, that would be absolutely thrilling for me. But in the meantime, I'm just having a blast. Okay. Not sure what is going on there. Not being... Aw. Nonetheless, who is Doro? No, Doro is not someone from the shop. Doro is, actually someone who showed up from the very beginning, chat. He was in our very first stream out of this store. One of the first, like, 7 people watching this. And stuck with us basically every time. Yeah. Stuck with us and eventually just made him a mod, tossed him under the bus. And he has done an absolutely fantastic job of it. So, big ups to Doro for being such a fantastic mod. I'm a big fan of mods having a fairly a light-handed approach into it. And so far, also just have to commend the chat for being so... It's been a really good-natured chat, and it always seems to be very civil, and I like that a lot. So, I'm a big fan. But so far, I haven't gotten a whole lot of stuff, so I'll probably be close to calling it a night. So if you guys want to toss in any final questions while I am just doing a final thank you to all of you, and thank you to all of you. This is such a fantastic experience to do, and I look forward constantly to the next stream, and I cannot wait to hopefully see a lot of you on Wednesday. And it's going to be an absolute blast, and I can't wait to see how far this can go, because this is just the coolest thing for me. Slowly Crashing is Coleman, who was one of my commentators. So yeah, I did Why is my chin... I don't know. Is my chin awesome? I had no idea. I had no idea. Just ordered a Mono Black Zombie deck. I have not seen one in Modern, but I would certainly like to. Mono Black Zombies, you do have access to Grey Merchant Asphodel, which is a huge plus if you can get that devotion up high. So I look forward to seeing it, and if you want to send me a list at Red Baron MTG, then I'm always excited to see it. To the Ninja. Thank you for joining us at the stream. Unfortunately, catching the end of it, but we do the stream on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, Saturdays at 6 o'clock. Those are our 2 times for Modern, and also Legacy, we do it at 7:30 on Fridays. These are all Pacific time. So, those are the times that we stream, and I would love to see you join us again. And if you ever do have any questions, please feel free to toss them into the chat. Into the any questions, comments, or feedback are always excellent. You can also find me at this Twitter above my head, and also I am on Reddit under the exact same name, and I try to at least participate in conversations when I can. So if you ever do want to ask me questions through that, that is also a good avenue. But unfortunately, kind of at the end of the stream, I do really appreciate you stopping by, however, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you either next Saturday or Wednesday for some sweet Modern, usually 5 rounds of it, really diverse metagame. So, thank you for joining, nonetheless. Sorry that you joined in at the end. Anyway, I think I'm about ready to call it a night. You guys are all absolutely incredible all the time, and I cannot wait to interact with you next time. Have a good night, everybody. Huh. 13.